So there I was, a teahouse waiter with white hair and dead man's eyes, when I found out my boss and his friends were planning to eat me. Not rob me, not fire me. Eat. Whole. As a sacrifice to something called a formation. And when I tried to run, the road brought me back. Let me back up. My name is Chen Wei, and I've been in this world about half a year. In the last one, I had an accident and went blind. Then I got here, and my eyesight came back. And I will never forget the first thing I saw with it. It was brief. It's burned in. The air itself was soaked in death, and the sky was chaos, full of unidentified vortexes and streaks of white mist running straight up forever. It looked exactly like a painting by an impressionist back home. Rembrandt, I think his name was. Read that again. He was blind. Somebody gave him his eyes back and used them to show him that. In short, this world is abnormal. And after half a year of exposure, I've got a general picture. It's overrun with demons and monsters. Here's how I got where I am. When I arrived, I got struck by lightning. Lucky, apparently. It didn't kill me. Then a kind person picked me up and got me to Shaolin City in Jian County. Back then, the Shangyun was still a restaurant. It downsized to a tea house later. And I was so hungry, I did the first genuinely criminal thing of my life. I ate without paying. The result was disastrous, but Shopkeeper Chen let me work it off, odd jobs, and he'd cover my food and lodging. And I've been a waiter there ever since. That's the whole trap, isn't it? Half a year ago, a man was kind to a starving blind stranger and gave him a job, a bed, and meals. And then he decided to eat him. The tea house is a bustling place, people in and out all day. Good spot for information. And today, the lobby was noisy, as usual. Another murder in the east of the city last night. A family of 4. All of them turned into dry corpses, by drugs, they say. That's the third one. Another headless case in the south. The man was having an affair that night and then just vanished. Another headless case. With the 2 from before and the 2 in the west, that's 5 dead. Who can argue with it? Beheaded in your sleep. Who knows who's next? I heard the Demon Suppression Division has already stepped in. And then, immediately, in the same breath, from the same room, Bachelor Yang didn't come out to sell tofu today. I miss him. First day of missing old-fashioned tofu. 5 people beheaded in their beds, and the tofu is what's really landing. That's the city. That's the tone of this entire world in about 9 lines. And at the counter, a young man of about 17 or 18 sat completely still. White hair, 2 heavy dark circles under his eyes, very noticeable, chin in his hand, worried. Normally I'd be fascinated by the gossip. Today I have no interest. Or rather, I'm only thinking about how to stay alive, and I don't have time for trivia. Because of what I found out last night. So this morning I got up early, dodged the crowd, and slipped out of the city gate. And I ran, down a path, past the mass grave, head down. Desperate, just running, trying to get out of this deadly place. I don't know how far, several miles at least. I was wrecked. And just when I thought I'd made it out of the reach of evil, I looked up. Good grief, I'm back at the mass grave. And I was absolutely certain I'd been going the right way. So I picked a different direction, not even following the road this time. And I came out at the mass grave. Several verifications later, I reached a conclusion. I cannot leave. It's the legendary ghost wall, walking in circles, no way out. So I walked back into Shaolin City, with a heavy heart. He went back, that's the part. He tested it, confirmed the cage, and then walked back into the kitchen, because standing outside in the cold, watching the wall doesn't change anything. Shopkeeper Chen wasn't in, out on errands. So I opened the tea house, like always, and was absent-minded all day, like a lamb waiting for slaughter, genuinely panicking. Waiter, a pot of tea and a plate of peanuts. A middle-aged man came in and took a quiet corner. Gao Ming, full beard. I've seen him plenty of times, and he was one of the men who plotted to eat me last night. They'd meant to knock me out with sleeping powder. For some reason, it didn't work on me, so I stayed normal and overheard the whole filthy business. And Gao Ming is not ordinary. He's a public servant, a demon suppression guard. The Demon Suppression Division has existed since the founding of the Great Xia dynasty. It handles strange events. Read that. The thing that's going to eat me isn't a gang. One of them is a government officer from the agency that investigates exactly this. and he's sitting in my tea house ordering peanuts about it. So I crushed the fear down and brought his order out. Plan: put it down and leave immediately before I'm noticed. And the moment I got close to him, I felt something indescribable, like an electric current going through me. And then I stared, because a wisp of blue-white chi came out of Gao Ming's body and went straight into mine. And nobody else could see it, only me, and a tingling spread through me. And my body went light, like shackles had come off. Like I'd swallowed a super powerful pill, suddenly energetic with inexhaustible strength. And my mind was more active than it's ever been, and my senses got clearer. "Hey, what are you standing there for? Why aren't you serving the tea?" "Excuse me." And I apologized a few times and put the tea and peanuts down and got out. And the second I sat back down at the counter, my nose went hot, and something warm ran out. Nosebleed. It has a cost. Whatever that was, it hurts me. I stole something off a demon hunter without touching him, without him noticing, and it made me stronger and made me bleed, and I don't know which one is winning. We close as soon as the customers are gone, and a day passed in random thoughts. Still no clue what the blue-white chi is, no idea if it's harmful. A terrifying day. I genuinely thought I might kick the bucket at any moment. Just past 11, I needed the toilet and went, reluctantly. Squeak. And the back door went, and a gust of biting wind came through the gap into the courtyard, and I shivered. And I turned around, and there was Shopkeeper Chen, back at last, looking travel-worn. And as he came closer, that electric feeling again. And to my astonishment, 3 strands of blue-white chi, far more concentrated than the ones in daylight, came out of him and straight into me. And I made myself calm, and nodded at him, and went inside. And Shopkeeper Chen watched me go, and nodded thoughtfully, and narrowed his eyes, and smiled slightly. He saw. He didn't see the chi, but he saw something, and whatever it was, it made him happy. The man who wants to eat me just watched me walk away and liked what he saw. And when I lay down, the tingling didn't stop. It got stronger, and then it started to hurt everywhere. What's going on? And the pain spread, not just the muscles, into the bones, and that was just the beginning. Soon it felt like I was being torn to pieces, drenched in cold sweat, forcing myself not to scream, and my consciousness starting to go out. But I held on, and while it happened, black blood came out through my skin, along with other dark, foul-smelling things, and I had a feeling that if I could get through this, I might come out completely transformed. The feeling of being worse than dead lasted more than half an hour. I don't know how I got through it. It was close. Then I got up, exhausted, and had a shower, which, after all that, is the funniest sentence in this recap. A man survives being torn apart from the inside, sweats out black blood, and his next act is to wash. And I thought about the 2 absorptions, and it matched something from a book. The description of body tempering in martial arts. So I've awakened body tempering, and out of sheer burdens I gave the changes a name. Small body tempering. What happens each time I take in blue-white chi. And once the small ones stack up enough, you get a great body tempering, which is what just happened to me. He named his own superpower out of boredom. He didn't get a system. He didn't get a panel. Nobody explained anything. He got pain and black blood in a book he half remembered, and he worked it out himself and then filed it like an inventory sheet. And now I can feel the power in me. It just needs proper guidance to be drawn out, and that's my first glimmer of hope. Early winter nights out here are cold and desolate. Whoosh, a dark shadow went past the window. Can't you shut up for once? I'd just lain down. I sat straight up, shaken. Nothing there. And about 15 minutes later, a dark shadow stretched slowly across the outside of the door, and the temperature in the room started to plummet. Whew! And I swallowed, trying to talk myself into courage, and reached for the dagger under my pillow, and cursed under my breath. And after a long pause, Shopkeeper Chen's cold voice came through the door. Is Xiao Chen asleep? It's me. And I said nothing, and tightened my grip on the knife. Why is old Chen at my door in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? Is he going to eat me right now? And I panicked, because I vividly remember the fight between the men in black last night. Their skills were absolutely not those of ordinary men. Ask me again what's standing outside a tea house waiter's door at midnight. Although, thinking it through, that can't be it. If you're ready to break off relations and eat a man, why be polite about it? And I opened my mouth to answer, and then jolted and clapped my hand over my mouth and broke out in a cold sweat. No, this is a weird world. Nothing strange had ever actually happened to me before. I'd almost forgotten where I was. Shopkeeper Chen and his gang aren't the only things that want to eat me. There are other filthy things too. And the rule is the rule. If something calls your name in the middle of the night, it's after your life or your soul. You don't answer. Grass. And my heart went off like a drum, and I stared at that door, ready to fight. And the shadow waited, and when no sound came, it slowly withdrew, and I let out a long breath and wiped the sweat off and leaned back against the wall. Worked. The folk rule worked. Don't answer, and it leaves. Little piglet, I'm here. And a head squeezed through the crack in the door. Quite creepy. Damn it! And then the sound of teeth grinding, and a dark figure slowly crawled in. Damn it, what a shoddy construction job. The door's wide open. That's him. That's the man. There's a ghost coming through his door frame, and he's complaining about the carpentry. And I got the dagger up and came off the bed. Bullshit. Just because you don't answer doesn't mean you're safe. Those rumors are all lies. There's the actual joke of this world. He followed the folk wisdom. He kept his mouth shut. He did everything right. And the rule was wrong. It just made the thing come in. What the hell are you? Up in the middle of the night, you son of a... Also hoping to wake Shopkeeper Chen, because I'm the Joseng meat here, the prize. And if old Chen just ignores it, he's letting somebody else eat his dinner. That's his rescue plan. Not save me, protect your investment. And in front of me, a humanoid black shape. Disheveled hair, face obscured, floating, blood dripping off its feet, and a chilling aura coming off it. Clearly some kind of evil spirit. And a pair of blood-red eyes locked on me, and it pounced. And I jabbed myself in the backside to stop the shaking. Swung, missed, dodged sideways and went straight through the window into the yard. And I looked at Shopkeeper Chen's room. Nothing. How? The noise is tearing the house apart. And my heart came up into my throat and I screamed, "Help! Shopkeeper Lee!" And the wraith came floating out after me and sneered repeatedly and let out a burst of yin qi, and my whole body locked. Couldn't move at all. And it raised a hand and an invisible grip closed on my throat and I started to choke. And neither of us noticed a flash of red light cross my neck. And that yin qi cannot get into my body at all. And I waited to be strangled to death, eyes wide, waiting. And nothing happened. That's it? You didn't eat? Completely bewildered. And the wraith was also bewildered, because it did not expect this boy's neck to be so stiff that it couldn't choke him. It used to ordinary people, grown men, choked till they foam and their eyes roll back. Routine. What is this thing? And the two of them just stared at each other. A murder ghost and a teahouse waiter in a courtyard at midnight, both going, "Hang on, that's not right." And it tried again, harder, and still couldn't hurt me in the slightest. And it got furious. And it opened a blood-red maw at me. And I felt an enormous suction and my soul starting to leave my body. Damn it! And then a dense mass of blood-red hair exploded out of the dark and wrapped me up like a dumpling. And the weight came on, and the hair got between my skin and began to contract, tighter and tighter, until I was curled into a ball and my bones started to crack. If I don't get out of this, I'm going to become a lump. And a massive sense of crisis hit, and I forced myself calm. And then the soul tearing started, and the pain was immense. This is a huge problem. Understatement of the dynasty. And I threw everything into breaking the hair first, because physical attacks are the most lethal. That's not an exaggeration. It's going for the soul and the body at the same time. It wants both. And I had nothing left. My face went liver-colored. And it did. Nothing. And then, blood came out of all 7 orifices, and my consciousness started to go. And at the critical moment, a flash of inspiration, and a red light ran through my body and yanked my soul back in. And then I heard my own heart hammering, and my blood started to move, fast, and my whole body turned bright red, and a surge of powerful blood chi came out of me, and every hair around me snapped at once and scattered across the ground. And my mind went blank, and I breathed out, and a thick white mist came out of my mouth, and the knife in my hand lit with a faint red light, and I didn't give it a chance. I pushed off the ground with both feet, crossed the whole yard instantly, and brought the blade down. Ah! And the wraith was split in two, and the two halves were evaporated by the blood chi, and it was gone from the world. And a blue-white chi, clearer and stronger than any before, went into me, and then I spat blood and collapsed, instantly and completely wrung out. It took a long time to get up. That's the ledger on my first fight. I killed an evil spirit with a kitchen knife in 30 seconds of rage, and it cost me everything I had. Shopkeeper Chen's not here? Since I moved in, he's repeatedly forbidden me from going near his room. Sheeper, are you in? Knock. Nothing. He's really not home. What could it? And then I remembered the fleeting shadow that went past before the wraith arrived, and I pushed. The door wasn't locked. Squeak. And a chilling cold came out, carrying a faint smell of blood. Empty. Much bigger than my room. Books everywhere, scraps of paper covered in scribbled, unidentified symbols. A white towel on the table, with red stains on it. Moonlight coming in, cold and damp. It doesn't look like it's been cleaned in a long time. Nobody lives in there. Half a year. That man has eaten in front of me, paid me, fed me, and forbidden me from that room, and it's a cold, bloody box full of symbols that hasn't been slept in. And I looked around, pulled my clothes tighter, walked out, and quietly closed the door. Back in my room, I did the sensible things. Board over the window, door shut, sat down, poured myself a cup of hot tea to steady my nerves. A man who was a dumpling 11 minutes ago, having a cup of tea because the window's boarded and the tea's hot, and what else are you going to do? And I was just about to organize my thoughts when I realized I'd forgotten to check on myself. Ask me again what a man finds when he finally looks inward? Because a tearing sensation went through me, and that familiar feeling was back, and the pain went into the bone marrow and spread everywhere, and my blood went faster and faster, and my heart felt like it was coming out of my chest, bright red all over, down on the floor, convulsing, teeth clamped shut so I wouldn't scream. I know this one, great body tempering. And this time there was no small body tempering at all, straight to the big one. And after who knows how long, just as I was sure I was dying, it went out like a tide. And I lay there, panting, eyes bloodshot, while the red light faded and left behind a layer of black filth that stank. I did not want to move. I wanted to lie flat. 2 great body temperings in one night is fucking deadly. This time there were far more impurities than the first. Dragged myself up and washed, head to toe, inside and out, 7 or 8 times before the smell came off. So, tea and take stock. Because tonight taught me the second source of the blue-white chi, killing a wraith yourself. And chi you take off something you personally killed is far more concentrated, and the tempering is far stronger. Target's unclear, but certain, killing a chicken gives you nothing. Swatting a mosquito gives you nothing. So the target is probably an evil spirit. We can only verify when the opportunity comes. That's the sentence. Verify. He got eaten alive by a ghost tonight, and his conclusion is that he needs a larger sample size. And the first source is passive, off other people. Best guess, somebody recently killed an evil spirit, so when I got close, I pulled that inferior chi off them. Gao Ming, the demon hunter, the government officer, he killed something recently, and I picked his pocket by standing next to him. And Shopkeeper Chen had 3 strands, much stronger. Old Chen has killed 3 of those things, recently. And then my thoughts went back to Shopkeeper Chen, because he and his people already agreed a date, 5 days, and 1 day has already gone, 4 days left, and I panicked. The cultivation, I've heard of it, I've met people who practice it. I have no clue how to start, nobody teaches me. I've only heard they're elusive, they fly through clouds, they conjure soldiers out of beans, they exorcise demons, and their power is immense. And Shopkeeper Chen and his gang seem to be exactly that type. Shopkeeper Chen, damn world. My heart had already gone cold yesterday. I was almost in despair. But killing that wraith relit something. So I went through every drawer and cabinet and pulled out a slightly yellowed book, the Great Martial Arts Manual, bought at the Huashang bookstore in the west of the city. I've already memorized it perfectly. And here's how I got it. Boss Chen told me it came out of an ancient tomb, that it had survived countless years, still well preserved, absolutely authentic. And driven by the words absolutely authentic, I believed him, and, on impulse, spent 2 months' wages. And the book explains martial arts and body tempering. That's where I learned about any of it. And afterward I looked into the records and found out that martial arts was a cultivation method of the human race 10,000 years ago, and then the world changed drastically, and the path was cut, and it declined fast until it disappeared. Only a tiny number of martial arts manuals survive. They give a slight boost to health, negligible. Most martial arts books were used to prop up table corners, or burned for firewood, or pasted over windows. That's what happened to an entire way of being human, not banned, not destroyed. It became firewood. It became the thing you shove under a wobbly table. I cursed Boss Chen countless times. I even made a scarecrow and stuck 2 needles in it every day. Absolutely despicable. I didn't believe it, but I practiced it anyway, by the instructions. And in the end, I gave up. No other reason. It's completely useless. And today, that worthless thing saved my life. Because the reason the wraith's hair snapped at the critical moment is that some of those techniques flashed through my head, and I felt my blood chi surge. And then I killed it. So I ran the basic method again, and the surging came back. Comes quick, goes quick. There's hope. Overjoyed, because after the first great body tempering, a power had already gathered in me. It was only held down by external suppression, and it needed the guidance of a cultivation technique to be fully released. And now I feel completely relaxed. The tempering has already paid me. There it is. The scam book was real. Not because Boss Chen was honest. He wasn't. And he sold a dead art to a starving boy for 2 months' wages. It's real because 10,000 years ago it was real, and everyone forgot. And the only person in this city who took it seriously enough to memorize was the idiot who got cheated. So I forced the excitement down and kept feeling my way into it. I don't know how long. And then I opened my eyes, and a faint aura came off my body, with wisps of faint red mist in it. It's done! And I stared at myself, looked at it from the left and the right like it was a work of art, and then pulled my clothes open to get a better look. It smells so good! Sir! 15 minutes later, my vision went black and I got disoriented, and the blood chi vanished instantly. Damn, this is bad for your kidneys. Weak all over, blood and chi insufficient. But, after darkness, a glimmer. At least there's a way out now. And I was particularly motivated, and the night went by in repeated practice. Xiao Chen, come out here a second. Shopkeeper Chen, at daybreak. A chilling sound in the courtyard. And I calmed myself, shook my head, patted my face, and walked out listless with my dark circles. He doesn't have to act exhausted. He was torn apart twice and did cultivation until dawn. The disguise is just the truth. What happened? Frowning, expressionless, as if nothing could move him. Oh, I was just about to mention. A thief broke in last night. Once I spotted him, he smashed the window and ran. I'm going to report it to the authorities right now. Nonsense. Prepared in advance. Was anything valuable lost? And he stared at me for a while before asking that. Calmly. We caught it early. Thankfully, nothing was stolen. In that case, let's skip reporting it. Get a carpenter this afternoon. Take the money from the accounts. He doesn't want the authorities in his courtyard, and I don't want them either, because one of them eats at my tables. 2 men lying to each other about a broken window, both relieved for completely different reasons. And he walked to his room and opened the door, and then turned around. By the way, Xiao Chen, the teahouse is closed for half a day. We reopen this afternoon. Go to Huashang bookstore in the west of the city. Pick something up from Boss Chen for me. Then put it outside my door, and close the door. To retrieve something? And I squinted and thought about it. Boss Chen, the man who sold me a dead art out of an ancient tomb for 2 months' wages. And Shopkeeper Chen, who is going to eat me in 4 days, is sending me to collect a package from him. and then I headed for the west of the city. Happily, because I haven't been to a bookstore in ages, and I might find some antiques, especially ones about martial arts. Ask me again what's in the package. And the moment I was gone, Shopkeeper Chen came out of his room and went to my door, and closed his eyes and took a deep sniff of the air, then opened it, went inside, sniffed again, then went out to the exact spot in the yard where the wraith died and smelled it. And then he stood still, raised his head, and grinned. The little chives have grown. They smell even better now. They'll be ready soon, very soon. And a wisp of black smoke curled around him, especially eerie against his blood-red eyes. Chives. Not a pig, not livestock. Chives, the thing you cut and it grows back so you can cut it again. He knows about the wraith. He knows I killed it. He knows what it did to me, and it made me a better crop. I, obviously, knew none of this. I was heading west. Bachelor Yang didn't set up her stall today either. "Morning, Manager Hu." "It's early for blacksmithing. Why aren't you still in bed with your wife?" "Hey, old son, hunting? Careful, I hear a wild boar demon has turned up in the woods outside the city." He shook off the gloom and went along greeting everyone he knew. That's a man with 4 days to live, doing banter down a market street, because that's what you do. Half an hour to the west side, and because of the headless case 2 days ago, there were soldiers patrolling everywhere and people hurrying, and the atmosphere was extremely oppressive. Huashang bookstore, open. No customers, too early. And the second I reached the door, a wisp of blue-white qi came out and went into me. Second time I've taken it off the bookseller, and I went thoughtful. The bookseller kills those things too. The man who sold me a worthless tomb book and laughed is out there killing evil spirits on the regular. Nothing in this city is what it says on the sign. Hey, isn't this Grand Bully? He looks pretty energetic. Qianbo, early 40s. Slightly overweight, expensive clothes, 3 big jade thumb rings. And the reason he calls me Grand Bully is that I was the first person in Shaolin City to dine and dash on Shopkeeper Chen's turf, that stingy man. That's my local legend. That's what I'm famous for. 1 free meal. And I gave him a forced smile and did not look at him kindly. This unscrupulous merchant swindled a large sum out of me. I still have the mini scarecrow at home. "Oh, right. I forgot the needle yesterday. I'll have to do double today." He has a schedule. For the voodoo doll. And he missed a day because he was busy being torn apart by a ghost. But you can't hit a smiling face, so I smiled. Shopkeeper Chen sent me to pick something up. "Oh, that. Wait here. I'll get it." And he gave me a meaningful look before going in the back. Something's wrong. Damn it. Uneasy under that look. 15 minutes, and he came out with a brocade box. "Grand Bully, this is it. Take it." And I put it on the counter, very curious what was in it. "That's not something you look at." "Besides, you can't open it," said seemingly casually. And I don't know if he did it on purpose, but I was already curious, and now it went itchy, and I felt like I'd be losing money if I didn't look. How could that be? Am I the kind of person who sneaks around? "If you've got nothing else to do, get out. Don't keep your boss waiting." Squinting, grinning, effectively throwing me out. "By the way, any newly returned antiques?" What a coincidence. I just got 2 back a few days ago. Absolutely authentic. Absolutely authentic. The exact same words, to the same boy, who spent 2 months' wages on them last time. He isn't even changing the pitch. "Let me see. I hope you recommend something useful this time." I didn't have much hope, but hearing absolutely authentic made me feel bad all over again. "Hold on." And he went into the back humming a little tune. And I stared at that brocade box for a long time, and in the end I didn't touch it. And in the back room, Qianbo put his eye to the crack in the door, grinning, yellow teeth. And when he saw I hadn't moved, he stopped watching, grabbed 2 books, and came out. It was a test. He told me not to open it specifically so I'd want to, and then watched through a crack to see if I would. And I passed. And I have no idea what passing bought me, or what failing would have cost. 2 ancient books! And he threw them down in front of me, both yellowed. 4 symbols, Overlord Body, and The Story of Old King Guangling Crossing the Mountain. And my heart nearly stopped, because if the first one is genuine, that's a martial arts cultivation manual. The second's a travelogue, probably just records things about the outside world. So I pretended to be calm, casually flipped through both, and decided to buy them. The travelogue's optional. 4 symbols overlord body is a must. Name your price. Casually. 500 coins, fair and square. 1 coin here is about 1 cent back home, but the purchasing power is much stronger. Cheaper, 100. Other people cut a price in half, you go for the throat. 500, no bargaining. You. Once this chance is gone, it's gone forever. Think it over, kid. You win, I'll buy it. But you throw in another book, and I pick it myself. 2 deep breaths, preparing to go home and double the acupuncture. Dream on, here's what you can choose from. And he tossed out 5 or 6. You're not getting any younger. I've got a fresh lotus emerging from water, gold edition, and the Heavenly Maiden Scattering Flowers Sutra. You could go home and relieve your loneliness? Sir, I'm 17. All right, 1 more book. Take it or leave it. Seeing my face going darker, he laughed and threw one out. This one's ancient too. And I looked closely and went, wow. How to Become a Muscular Bodybuilder. And before I could react, he shoved everything into my arms and herded me out. Bang! Bookstore doors closed. I'm XO. Briefly, then I calmed down and left, grumbling. And Chen Wei watched me go through the crack in the door and chuckled, maliciously. That man just took 500 coins off a boy who's going to be eaten in 4 days, sold him a fitness pamphlet as an antique, and laughed at him through a door. And twice now, standing near him, I've stolen something out of his body that he can't see. He's a monster who kills evil spirits. He's a fraud who cheats orphans. And he's the only man in the city who keeps selling me the thing that's actually keeping me alive. Ask me again what 4 symbols overlord body turns out to be. And he kept watching me go, like he'd thought of something wonderful. How about I add some spice? And he crushed a piece of jade to powder in his hand, and a wisp of black energy came off How to Become a Muscular Bodybuilder, went up my arm and into me. The gag book was the delivery vehicle, the joke item, the freebie he threw in while laughing. I sensed malice, looked down at myself, scanned the street. Move, move! And a crowd shoved past and broke my train of thought. And a strand of blue-white chi came with them and burrowed in. Demon suppression guards, and government office men. Clearly they'd found something, hence the rush. Still, I got a taste of my money's worth. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Great mood. Stopped worrying. And then another wisp went into me, and this time I didn't notice where it came from. This one's got plenty of health. Excellent alchemy. Materials. A bald old man at the roadside, staring thoughtfully at my back. Make a mark here, pick it up in a couple of days. And he made a seal with his hand, and a beam of red light shot out, landed on me, and vanished. Get out of here. And he sensed something, and disappeared into the crowd in a flash. Excuse me, he got spooked. An alchemist who tags humans like livestock just marked me, and then fled his own street because something scared him. Huh? Holy crap, not again? And malice went up my spine again, and I stopped believing in coincidence. I'm clearly in deep trouble. And I panicked, because something is watching me, again. Does this mean I really am Joe Sang Meat? And I started to doubt myself. Back in the old world, I was something dogs would shake their heads at. Half a year here, and I'm highly sought after. Let me count the queue. Shopkeeper Chen wants to eat him. Gao Ming, the demon hunter, is in on it. Boss Shu of the restaurant next door is probably in on it. Qian Bo, the bookseller, just cursed him for fun. And now a bald alchemist he has never met has tagged him for pickup because he looks like good materials. 5 different parties, 1 boy, and he still has to go home and serve tea. Suppressed it, rushed back east, stopped at Mr. How the carpenters to arrange the window repair for the afternoon. He booked the carpenter. He's being farmed by a demon and marked by an alchemist, and he remembered the errand. Put it by the door, Shopkeeper Chen's indifferent voice, the second I hit the backyard. Okay. Box down, back to my room. Still early before dinner, time to look at the books. And once I was gone, Shopkeeper Chen opened his door and took the box in, and released a burst of magical power, and the box opened instantly, like something around it had cracked. It was sealed. properly sealed, and I carried it across the city in my hands. Inside, a book, a small bottle, several talismans, and a somewhat damaged dagger. And he took the bottle and poured out a pill, and stared at it for a long time, and swallowed it. And a massive burst of energy erupted out of him, and he forced it back down. He's powering up. Whatever he's about to do to me in 4 days, he just started preparing his body for it, and it's big enough that his own body tried to reject it. Meanwhile, in my room, I laid 3 books out in a row and picked up 4 symbols overlord body and memorized the entire thing in half an hour. Since arriving in this world, my memory keeps getting stronger. And it's real. It's genuinely a martial arts cultivation manual. And more than that, it's a visualization technique. You build a 4-symbol illusion in your mind, then you visualize it, and out of it, you get divine ability. 4 layers. And the first layer is the white tiger. I don't know if it'll work, but I have to try, because I desperately need strength. Chen Wei sold him a real one, twice, 500 coins, from a fraud, with a curse stapled to the freebie, and it's the only real thing anybody in this city has ever given him. So I cleared my head and started building the white tiger, over and over, easier said than done, and it took until dinner to finish even the outline. Xiao Chen, food's here! Meals come from the restaurant next door every day. Boss Shu has an arrangement with Shopkeeper Chen. Chen pays monthly, and the delicious restaurant delivers. And since the Shangyun downsized to a tea house, it laid off every employee. Only me and Shopkeeper Chen are left, which was clearly intentional. He cleared the building. He didn't downsize because business was bad. He removed every witness and kept one boy, the one with no family, no papers, and a debt. And ever since I found out he drugged me, the delicious food makes me feel sick. Boss Shu is probably one of the customers who wants to eat me. And there were probably more than 5 people at that table. Damn it, I'm all I have. I'm probably going to get sliced up. Yesterday, Chen was out, so I secretly threw the food away and ate mixed grain to fill my stomach. Today, there's no escaping it. And the delivery man, an old man named Shu Bao, didn't leave. Normally, he drops it and goes. Today, he stayed, staring at me, with a glint. Squeak! And Shopkeeper Chen opened his door. Aren't you leaving? Planning to stay for dinner? A hint of warning. No, I'm going. Head down, gone. He protected me, because I'm his. That's not rescue. That's a man telling another man to get away from his plate. And I laid the food out, conscientiously, in the other room. Eat. And Shopkeeper Chen picked up his bowl and started. And the food looked delicious. And I saw a monstrous flood, chopsticks in hand, not one bite. What, not to your liking? And he picked up a fisheye and, without thinking, ate it in one bite. No! And I forced myself to eat. It tasted good. I wasn't in the mood to savor it. And I started to panic. That's the scene. That's the whole show. 2 of them at a table. One eating a fisheye without looking. One choking down dinner he's certain is poisoned, cooked by a man who wants to eat him in a building that was emptied of witnesses on purpose, with 4 days left. And neither of them says anything. Fortunately, the meal went quickly, and Chen went back to his room, and I tidied the dishes and carried them next door, to the restaurant, to Boss Shu. Ask me again what's waiting at the delicious restaurant. It'll be here soon. Shopkeeper Chen watching me go through a small crack in the window. Boss Shu is also elusive. I've met him a few times. Serious old man. Doesn't smile. And like Shopkeeper Chen, I've taken blue-white chi off him a few times too. Everybody who wants to eat him kills evil spirits. Every single one. That's not a coincidence. That's a profession. And on my way out, I saw Shopkeeper Chen heading west. Didn't dwell on it. Back to the White Tiger. Finish it before nightfall. Da. I just shut the courtyard gate when the temperature dropped hard, and there was a sound behind me. Turned. Nothing. Holy crap. And then I saw them. Bloody footprints. On the ground. Walking toward me. I went for the gate and it froze over. Damn it! Dodged sideways. And the footprints followed. They're obviously here for me. So, can't avoid it? Then meet it head on. Blood chi flooded my whole body, and I threw a punch at the footprints. Thump. Bullseye. And then an enormous force came back through my wrist, and a bloody handprint appeared on it. Sensed it going wrong, poured blood chi into the arm and tore free, and got a few steps back. And the cold came down again, and a blood-red, sexy, transparent human shape appeared, and a pair of blood-red hands came at me, with crushing pressure behind them. And I stopped holding back. Full power, blood chi higher than it's ever been, and I went straight at it. One slap, and the arm shattered. Then a boot, and it threw a punch, and the hand exploded, and my eyes lit up. And I went in and started punching and kicking, behaving exactly like a thug. And the blood shadow couldn't move, pinned by the pressure of my blood chi. There was nothing else I could do. I haven't learned any martial skills. I have almost no combat experience. So I could only rely on recklessness. I'll fucking beat you to death! That's the technique. That's the entire martial art of Chen Wei. An immortal cultivator's curse, a thing made of blood and hate, held in place by raw vitality, while a 17-year-old waiter beats it up like a bar fight. And I didn't dare stop the blood chi, kept pouring until I was completely empty. Then I stood there panting and looked at myself. And a beam of red light shot into me, and the blood shadow vanished as a wisp of white smoke. Am I being tagged? Shocked, stepped back fast, and a familiar wisp of blue-white chi went in. A blood shadow has been killed. Laifu Inn, south of the city. An old woman coughed twice and opened her eyes, and killing intent flashed through them. Damn it, another unknown enemy. But I didn't care much. More debts never hurt. More debts never hurt. He's got a demon farming him, an alchemist who tagged him for pickup, a bookseller who cursed him for fun, and now an old woman in an inn who just felt him kill her spell from across the city. And his position is, add her to the pile. Internal check. No foreign objects found. Internal vision. I've had that since the day I arrived. Still not strong enough. Am I possessed by Conan? Why do I keep running into evil spirits? Sitting on the ground, dejected, sighing. Then, sighing again. Looks like I need to prepare more blood-replenishing foods. That's his takeaway. Not, I'm being hunted by 4 factions. Not, I'm going to die. I should eat better. So I rested, cleaned up the mess, took the closed sign down, and opened the teahouse. And it filled up fast, busy most of the day before I got a break. Carpenter Wu came, said hello, went to the backyard. Today's talk is still the headless case and the dry corpse case, and with nothing interesting to listen to, I kept sculpting the white tiger, filling in details between customers. He is doing forbidden 10,000-year-old cultivation at the counter, in gaps between pouring tea, while the city gossips about beheadings. It's done! A clear white tiger, in my mind, appears the instant I think of it. Extremely convenient. Overjoyed, and I could not wait to begin visualizing. But it's clearly not the right time, so I kept refining details instead. And Carpenter Wu came by, collected his wages, and left. Shopkeeper Chen still wasn't back by evening, so the food from the delicious restaurant got thrown away again. And then I thought about it, and decided to go to the mass grave outside the city, to grind experience. Shaolin City shuts its gates at night. No entry, no exit. But if you want out, there are always unconventional ways. And I happen to know one. A few miles east, the mass grave, the place I ran through when I fled. They say many refugees are buried there, and many people who died mysteriously. Mass grave, moon high, wind dark, deathly silent all around, only the occasional insect and bird, and a boy with dark circle standing at the edge, looking in. Before coming, I tried to escape one more time, and came back to the mass grave again. There's definitely a formation, and it's aimed specifically at me, so I gave up on escaping. That's the moment. He didn't come to the graveyard because he's brave. He came because he tested the wall one last time and it held, and then he turned around and looked at the only thing in his cage that could make him stronger. If you can't get out of the pin, you eat what's in the pin. And I stared at the grave mounds, and at the densely packed gray-white spirits floating over them. A combination of vengeful spirits, ghost energy, and will-o'-the-wisps. And its shape is exactly that of a lantern. The will-o'-the-wisp lantern monster. They say wraiths come out in the mass grave after midnight, but between 8 and midnight, these lantern monsters are here. He knows the spawn timer. He knows what comes out and when, and he's arrived in the safe window on purpose to farm the weaker thing before the stronger thing wakes up. 4 days, a waiter, a kitchen knife, and a graveyard full of lanterns. Ask me again what a man kills to stay on the menu one more day. Here's the beautiful part. Lantern monsters have no self-awareness. They just drift around the graves. Almost no threat to anything alive. At most, you catch some yin qi and are sick for a few days. Occasionally, a mutated one is born, and those attack. So the Demon Suppression Division checks periodically and clears the mutants. They tried wiping them out entirely once, killed a lot in a day. They were back the next night. Fortunately, it caused no real harm, so eventually people stopped paying attention. Do you see it? Infinite respawn, zero threat, nobody watching, nobody cares. It's the most worthless thing in the county. It's the reason nobody has ever bothered, and it's the only thing in this world that makes Chen Wei stronger. Everyone walked past a mountain of gold for 1,000 years because it looked like litter. Looked around. Nobody there. Straight in. Palm glowing faint red, and a chop at the nearest one. Sizzle. Gone. And a wisp of blue-white chi went in. Holy crap, I'm rich! And I went in delighted, knife flashing. From a distance, it looks like somebody dancing on a grave. If anyone walked past, they would absolutely think they'd met a ghost. Swish, 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 cutting through them like melons and vegetables. And the chi poured in, and my body started to change, and I went hot all over. I don't know how many. And then the great body tempering came. I stopped dead, skin flushed red, piercing pain everywhere. Click, click, click. Bones grinding. Grass! Worse than last time. Blood out of all 7 orifices. Blood seeping through my skin. Muscles convulsing. Down on the ground, curled up like a shrimp. I have to hold on. I fucking want to live. Eyes rolling back. Consciousness going. Not much dirt this time, though. Puff. Somebody let out a long fart. The stench was overwhelming. Some of the surrounding moss lost its color. Several hibernating animals foamed at the mouth and went into a deep sleep. Luckily, there was a slight breeze. Otherwise, Chen Wei would have nearly died of his own fart. I want to note that this happened in the middle of a scene where a boy is screaming that he wants to live while bleeding from his eyes. And that's this story. That's the whole register. Cosmic horror and a fart joke in the same paragraph, and neither one is winking. Cough, cough, cough. And I came back and dragged myself up against an unmarked tombstone, leaving a dark handprint on it. Call! And I stretched. Some pain left. And an unprecedented lightness. And then something came at my back, frowned, and blood chi, more concentrated than ever, came off me, and I grabbed it out of the air. A mutated lantern monster, entirely black, 2 blood-red eyes, 2 rows of serrated teeth tearing at me, and 2 hands and 2 legs. Or not hands and feet, tentacles, short ones. Struggling was futile. It's not a spirit. It has texture, sticky, gooey, some kind of flesh and blood monster. Squeak crushed it, silent, puddle, and a wisp of chi came in. Ugh, ugh, and I wiped my hands on the nearby tombstone, several more conspicuous stains. And then I remembered something, and bowed to the tombstone. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. It's all this little thing's fault for being so disgusting. He apologized to the grave. He's covered in his own blood, standing in a mass grave at midnight, having just crushed a monster in his fist, and he stopped to say sorry to a dead stranger about the mess. If you're a true brother, let me cut you one more time. Still early, so I threw myself back into the demon exterminating, and went through another great body tempering. Also unpleasant. Nearly killed me, almost choked on a single bite. But I pulled through, and I can feel it now. My strength is up, especially the blood chi. It's getting vigorous. Maybe this the realm the great martial arts manual mentions. The book briefly covers martial realms, 1 through 4, and I'm at the first. 4 great body temperings so far, so I'm calling it 1 realm, 4 stages. He's naming his own progress bar, again. Nobody teaches him. Nobody confirms anything. He's got a scam book with 4 words of theory in it, and he's inventing the notation as he goes, alone, in a graveyard, out of spite. Looked around at the emptied field. Satisfied nod. Let's continue tomorrow night. Whoosh! Something shot past. Boom! And I went alert and moved to get up a tree and see. Too late. An enormous black shadow came down out of the sky at me, backed off fast. Boom! Dust everywhere. Nothing visible but a blurry black shape. Humph, humph, humph. Enormous, and snorting, and when the dust dropped, the moonlight showed me what it was. A wild boar, 3 meters tall, 6 meters long, 2 fangs, each 2 meters, shining with a cold light, and its eyes were sharp but restrained. It's intelligent. It's a pig demon. The wild boar demon, the one everyone in the city has been talking about for 2 days. The Demon Suppression Division already sent a team to kill it, and it turned out to be not just tough and thick-skinned, but cunning, treacherous, excellent at ambushes, and first class at slipping away. Several people died in there over the last few days, government men, professionals, dead. I assumed my noise woke it. Wrong. The wild boar demon was woken by the stench, and then drawn in by the blood chi coming off my body. His own fart summoned it. I want that entered into the record. A man's digestion woke an apex predator that has killed trained demon hunters, and then his power told it where dinner was. And it stared at me, drool already running out of its mouth onto the ground. And I spat at it, blood chi surging, eyes going cold. That's right. I want to smash this stupid pig. Its aura is strong, but far inferior to Shopkeeper Chen's, so I want to test myself. Read that. The thing that massacred a government hunting party is, in his professional estimate, significantly weaker than his boss, the man who brings him dinner, the man who sends him to fetch parcels, the man who is going to eat him in 4 days. And Chen Wei is going to use the pig as a benchmark, and all the rage he's been swallowing for days, under Shopkeeper Chen, under that table, under that smile, came up at once. Ask me again who's actually hunting who in that graveyard. Die, you grandpa! And before it could move, I jumped and punched the wild boar demon in the head. It paused, then came back instantly, eyes going fierce, and drove its fangs at me with a roar. After all that tempering, my senses and reactions are extremely sharp. So I saw the fangs coming, kicked off them, used the momentum to go higher, and came back at the head with a fistful of blood chi, red light on the knuckles, shining. Thump. Aimed at the eye. It tilted its head at the last instant, caught it in the face. And I deeply learned that the effects of force are mutual. Blasted backward, through several trees on the way, and its head snapped sideways, skin not broken, but the impact went through the hide, straight into the brain. Dizzy, swaying, that massive body about to fold. But it's a veteran. Its eyes cleared fast, steadied itself. 2 grunts, and it charged the spot where I landed. Don't punch a pig in the face. It's furious. It only wants to kill the ant that hurt it, then tear it apart, devour it, and let it become nourishment for the earth. And I saw trees snapping in half up ahead, and a deafening roar getting closer. And I came back to myself, stared at the incoming fangs, and fired up the blood chi, and a faint red aura came off my whole body, making me look like a Saiyan. And I caught the fangs, with both hands. Boom! Massive crater, trees down everywhere, dust and smoke. Get up! And I lifted it, all of it, 3 meters, 6 meters, off the ground. Honestly, I surprised myself. I never expected to be that fierce. And the wild boar demon's rage evaporated in 1 instant. This one is stronger than me. And a chill went from its 4 hooves straight to the top of its head. Because it just realized the ordinary person in front of it was pretending to be weak, to take advantage of its strength. Terrified, kicking wildly, trying to break free. In vain. It could already foresee its fate, skinned alive, tendons pulled out. Let me introduce you to this animal properly, because it's the funniest character in this story. Normally, when it hunts, if the prey's weaker, sorry, you're food. If the prey looks difficult, it's gone in a few moves. Its unique escape ability is the only reason it's alive today. Bluntly, it bullies the weak, fears the strong, and mostly just wants to hide. It was having a sweet dream tonight when a deadly stench woke it up. Then it sensed powerful blood chi, investigated, found an ordinary person with no cultivation. Well then, perfectly reasonable to eat him. And unexpectedly, a chi refining 6th or 7th level cultivator, the kind that isn't enough to fill a gap in its teeth, is almost tearing this ordinary person apart. This guy is a super tough nut. There's the scale, finally, from something that knows. Chi refining 6 or 7. That's what a cultivator is. That's the tier the boar eats for breakfast. Chen Wei is an ordinary person with no cultivation, and he just picked the boar up. Oh. The more it thought, the more frightened it got. It lost control of its bladder and bowels and began screaming at the top of its lungs. And I was smug, genuinely pleased. Finally, I can protect myself. And then the stench arrived, and the wild boar demon opened its mouth and roared with a putrid smell in it. Damn it! Twisted the blade hard, kicked it away, covered my nose, retreated. And the wild boar demon felt that happiness had come too suddenly. Ignoring its torn-out fangs and the churning in its stomach, it ran as fast as it could. It won the fight by being disgusting. The Demon Suppression Division sent trained men, and it killed several of them. And it escaped a teahouse waiter by soiling itself. And I stood there, holding 2 fangs, watching it go, cursing my miscalculation. Chased it. The wild boar demon apparently has some kind of divine ability for escaping. Long gone. No trace. I never expected this demon to be so cowardly and utterly devoid of dignity. And I could sense it would have given a considerable amount of blue-white chi, and the more I thought about it, the more excited I got. So I broke the 2 fangs into several pieces, threw them on the ground, confirmed no trace was left, and went home by the same route. He destroyed the evidence. He just fought a monster the government couldn't kill, and his instinct was to smash the trophies so nobody knows anything happened. He's 17.
And he's already better at this than the professionals.
And not long after he left, an old Taoist came running, holding the broken fangs, staring at the wreckage. Who is powerful enough to severely injure a 6th level chi refining wild boar demon? They must be at least 7th level. Headed for Shaolin City. At the gate, he tore up a talisman, and shortly after, a side door opened, and a government office man came out and took him inside. He filed a report. The graveyard is now evidence, the fangs are exhibits, and the government office just opened its side door at midnight for a man with a talisman. Nobody in this city sleeps, and everybody is somebody else's informant. Past midnight, most lamps out, and I was moving carefully out of Lanhua Lane when I sensed something and stopped, held my breath, looked out, and saw a dark figure leap into the Zhao family manor, and the moonlight showed me the face. Gao Ming, the Demon Suppression Division, one of the diners who's about to eat me. And I went to move, and another person came up behind him, Shopkeeper Chen, and went into the manor too. It's so lively. And at that same moment, back in the mass grave, a wraith floated out from under the tombstone with my handprint on it, and followed the direction I'd gone. The one he apologized to. Waited. Nothing more. Changed route. Left. Curious, but not reckless enough to go poking around a great manor. And with Chen and Gao Ming both inside, they might be discussing how to divide me up. And I made a mental note of the Zhou family. Prominent family in Shaolin City, wide range of businesses, made their fortune in trade. The head, Zhou Hong, is known as a great philanthropist. He helps refugees. He funds the government office to build bridges and roads. Excellent reputation in the whole region. Half a year here, and everything I know about the Zhou family is hearsay. I've never had contact with them. The great philanthropist, the man who feeds refugees, and at midnight, a demon hunter and a man-eating demon both go over his wall. Every single kind face in this city has something behind it. Huh? Why am I still in the alley? I'd stopped overthinking and finally noticed something was wrong. I was in Ping An Lane, and I'd been walking a long time, and I still couldn't get out. Deep breath. Kept walking, still in the alley, and fog had already filled everything around me. Trapped in a maze? And as I stood there, a tongue came out from behind me, incredibly fast, going for my neck. Playing tricks. And I turned and grabbed it, and blood chi ran up the tongue, and I just pulled, casually. Ah! The owner didn't show itself, but I'd already torn the tongue off. Sticky, covered in pustules, oozing something. I just pulled it casually. 12 hours ago, that boy was terrified of a shadow at his door. Tonight, he fought a demon the government couldn't kill, and now something built a labyrinth around him in the streets of his own city, an ambush, by something that hunts humans, and he ripped its tongue out without turning around properly, and his review was, playing tricks. 3 days left. Ask me again what's at the other end of that tongue. And then the pustules swelled, like they were about to burst. Through it, retreated fast. Bang! Liquid everywhere, and the fog got thicker. Sizzle! Shocked, and I threw blood chi up to hold the fog off me, because that fog is corrosive. And here's where my weakness showed up, plainly. I have too few skills. I have only brute strength. I'm good up close, I'm helpless at range. That fog is a problem right now, and once my health runs out, it's over. Ran hard, still in the alley. So I thought about it, poured blood chi into my right fist, and punched the ground. Call. A gale came off me in every direction, and the smoke blew outward, and the world came clear, and there, not far ahead, a floating dark shadow. The long-tongued ghost. The one that followed me all the way from the mass grave. Of course, I didn't know that. Face hidden by black hair, and that long tongue hanging down, almost touching the ground. And it clearly hadn't expected this, and it froze. It came out of the grave he apologized to. It followed him across a city. It built a labyrinth. And then it hesitated for 1 second, and I did not waste it. Every scrap of blood chi. Stomped, shot across the gap, and had it by the throat before it moved. Struggling, useless. It got both hands up and started stabbing and clawing at me, and I swung my other arm and shattered both its arms. Blood chi in, and it turned to ash and was gone. And a wisp of blue-white chi went into me. Smoke gone, and I was standing at the mouth of the alley. After all those fights, I was feeling weak, and without pondering where the long-tongued ghost came from, I leisurely went home. Leisurely. Ate some dry food, rested, recovered. Liamong is running out. Let's begin the visualization. 4 symbols overlord body, open again. Read it several times, no errors in my memory, then sat down and went deep. And the white tiger appeared in my mind, and I ran the incantation, and the world flashed, and I was standing on an ancient battlefield. Looked down. I was in spirit form. And before I could react, a white tiger appeared in the arena, surrounded by a dense swarm of giant beasts. And those things would be world-destroying even by today's standards. A gesture from one could shatter galaxies and shift stars. Truly terrifying. And the white tiger, crackling with lightning, looked around at all of them, fearlessly, and vanished. And then, lightning started crossing that battlefield, and with every flash, one of those beasts fell. But I could see its movements. Its claws were scythes reaping lives. Every roar brought earth-shattering change. It left nothing but desolation. Even space itself was riddled with holes, and I felt that world-destroying energy coming at me, and it felt extremely real. And my spirit body started to come apart. I have no idea what's happening here. And then lightning erupted out of the white tiger's whole body, pulling on heaven and earth, and turned the entire battlefield into a thunder prison. And I got one glance before I was scattered, and I woke up, covered in sweat, as if all of it had actually happened. And my emotions wouldn't settle for a long time. And when I tried to run the technique again, I couldn't get back in. Several attempts. Conclusion, you only see that once. He got shown a memory. 10,000 years ago, martial arts was that. That is what the path was, before the world changed and cut it. And now it's the thing you burn for firewood and a fat man sells to orphans for 500 coins. And they let him see it once, and then closed the door. So I calmed down, came to terms with it, and went back to holding the tiger in my mind. And while I did, I thought about what I'd seen on that battlefield, and I got deeply immersed. And soon, arcs of electricity were running over my whole body, and some of the loose arcs were absorbed by how to become a muscular bodybuilder. The cursed one, it's eating it. And then a wisp of electricity that had been sleeping in my dantian burst, and the white tiger in my mind came alive, and vanished, and reappeared inside my dantian, and opened its mouth, and swallowed the arc, and went quiet. I looked inward, and there it was. With one thought, I can reach it, and use it to fight. Here's what that lightning was. When I arrived in this world, I was struck by lightning, and it left a trace of arc in my dantian, dormant ever since. And after my sight came back, I could see inside myself, so I always knew it was there. I thought it would just stay like that forever. I never expected one cultivation technique would cause this much trouble. The lightning that nearly killed him on arrival was the ammunition. Half a year it sat there, doing nothing, a scar, and the first thing he ever visualized was a tiger made of lightning, and it woke up and ate it. In any case, now I have another way to fight. And the cultivation gave me something else, a technique called void shatter. At major achievement, it can break through the void itself. That's how powerful it is. I raised my hand. Blood chi wrapped it, stronger than before. And then I reached for the white tiger, and the blood chi disappeared, and an arc of electricity took its place. Then I looked inward again, at the 4 unknown energies sitting in my body. 1 black, 2 red, 1 green. And based on the last few days, I realized instantly, I've been tagged. What I couldn't see before, I can see now. 4. Black, the bookseller's curse, out of the joke book. Red, the alchemist who marked him for pickup. And another red from the blood shadow. And a green one. He doesn't even know who the green one is. 4 different parties have put a mark inside his body, and until tonight, he couldn't see any of them. Bang! And while I was thinking, how to become a muscular bodybuilder caught fire on the table. Holy crap! And every other book ignited the moment the flame touched it. Shocked, threw tea on it. The fire didn't care. So I moved at lightning speed and yanked out old King Guangling crossing the mountain, the furthest one, threw it on the floor and stamped on it, and finally used blood chi to put it out. Only the second half survived. The 3 books on the table burned to ash. Strangely, the wooden table didn't burn, just a blackened mess. Luckily, I already knew all 3 by heart. Otherwise, I'd have lost a fortune. Chen Bo burned them. He sold the boy a real manual and a curse in the freebie, and the curse spent all day quietly eating the lightning coming off his cultivation and then destroyed the evidence. Except the evidence is in his head. He memorized all 3 in half an hour because his memory keeps getting stronger, and the scam was over before it started, and nobody knows. And the travelogue survived. Half of it. Even though I don't understand why, I should clean the ashes off the table first. Huh? This is... And in the ashes, I found an unknown beast skin. Ask me again what was hiding inside a book about muscles. A blank area on it, no idea what it is. But it's extremely tough, tear-resistant, impervious to water and fire. A thing that doesn't burn was sitting inside a book that burned itself to ash. Nobody put it there for me. Put it away. And then I thought about the marks and realized I could erase them, easily, with a little effort. But that would alert them, and they might move early. Better, lie low, get stronger. And I can watch those marks any time, so nothing uncontrollable is going to happen. So I'm holding back. That's the moment he stops being prey. He can cut the leashes, 4 of them, tonight. And he leaves them on, because a known leash tells you when the hand pulls. 3 days ago, he was running in circles around a graveyard crying. Then I looked at what was left of old King Guangling, because I'd seen the words cultivating immortality in the burned section. Mostly a travelogue, some mentions, not many. 2 realms named, Qi Refining, and Foundation Establishment, and 1 term, Spiritual Root. Nothing else. Maybe it was in the part that burned. Cultivating immortality is still far too distant for me. Banished it, back to practicing my only move, Void Shatter. Meanwhile, inside the Zhao family manor, a secret room, Shopkeeper Chen, Gao Ming, Boss Shu, Patriarch Zhao Hong, and the City Lord, Song Hua Yu. The City Lord. These are the same 5 who had the fight in Chen Wei's room, Gao Ming's mask came off that night, which is the only reason he knows even one name. The other three were masked. He has no idea who they are. They're being set up. It'll be complete tomorrow. Song Hua Yu. Middle-aged, black and white hair, square face, serious, a scar over his right eye. The scented flower smoke is ready. As long as he isn't half-step foundation establishment, I guarantee it will make him completely obedient. Boss Shu. Looks old. Like Shopkeeper Chen, nobody knows his name. Usually serious. It's an act. In reality, he's bloodthirsty and kills without hesitation. The evil spirits within 10 miles of the city are mostly cleared. I'll handle the wild boar demon as soon as I can. Gao Ming. Sitting with his eyes closed since he arrived, nobody knows what he's thinking. That's where the blue-white chi comes from. They've been cleaning the county 10 miles out for days, not to protect anybody, to make sure nothing else eats the crop before they do. And every time one of them killed something, Chen Wei picked it out of the air by serving them tea. They fed him, with the murders they committed to keep him safe. I've noticed the little guy's been acting strange lately. I don't know what his methods are, but he seems able to kill some low-level wraiths. Not a big problem, though. The seed is ripe, ready to be harvested. Shopkeeper Chen, eyes closed, sensing that Chen Wei was still roughly inside the city. He did cast a spell on him, but it only gives a general location. And Song Huiyu's people watch the city, inside and out. If Chen Wei goes too far from Shaolin City, they'll know instantly. They know he's killing wraiths. They noticed. And their assessment is, good, it's ripening. Every fight he's had, every great body tempering, every near death in that graveyard, he thinks he's arming himself. They think he's marbling. 3 days from now is the full moon. It will strengthen the formation. As for the wild boar demon, just get it as far away as possible. Zhou Hong, in the main seat. Kind-faced old man, gray hair, goatee, eyebrows so long they nearly reach his chin, face full of wrinkles, a faint smile. The great philanthropist, the man who feeds refugees and builds the bridges. He's the one in the main seat. He's above the city lord. They talked until dawn. And Chen Wei, who had cultivated all night, was full of energy. People are in high spirits when they have a happy occasion. 3 parations, more days, he said that happily. 3 more days is his countdown to being eaten, and he's in a great mood because he learned to move. Opened the teahouse early. It filled up. Still the headless case and the dry corpse case, several more last night. And because of the wild boar demon's rampage, the demon suppression division is overwhelmed, so the government office brought in an old Taoist from the Qingshan Tao Temple to help. He's already examined the scene, and he's reportedly made some progress. The boar's rampage. Chen Wei wrecked that graveyard. Chen Wei left the crater and the felled trees. The city blamed the pig. And the old Taoist knows better. He held the fangs, and he's now inside the investigation, looking for a 7th-level chi-refining cultivator who doesn't exist. Also, the government office arrested several traders, beheading at the market this afternoon. By noon, the tea house emptied. Everyone went. To watch. One morning's work, and I'd already progressed on the second move of the white tiger. Lunch came, a portion just for me. Damn. I've lost several pounds in a few days without meat. Threw it away again, filled up on cornbread. He is being starved by his own caution. The people trying to fatten him are the only ones feeding him, and he can't eat any of it. And when I returned the bowls, I took a short trip to the market. The beheadings were over. 10 headless corpses hanging on a pole. The ground had just been washed. The smell of blood was still sharp. And I've killed wraiths. I've seen the bodies of people they murdered. But looking at those 10, my stomach still turned. Lucky I didn't eat much at noon, or I'd have embarrassed myself. And the people around me were pointing and chatting about the corpses. Used to it. And I had nothing to say. Human life is the cheapest thing in this place. And realizing I could no longer sense the portal to the other world, I understood I'm settling here permanently. I need to fit into this world. That's the sentence. He came here blind, got struck by lightning, got cheated, got enslaved by a debt over 1 free meal, and is on a menu. And standing under 10 headless men, he decided the problem is that he needs to fit in better. Half a day later, I finally recovered and felt much lighter, and then, naturally, mastered the second move. I named it Thunder. One last look at the corpses. Shook my head. Walked back to the tea house. Got hungry on the way. Bought a dozen meat buns. Quiet afternoon. Practiced the second form in my head over and over, planning to test it at the mass grave tonight. After all this cultivation, I can control my blood chi well. I look like an ordinary person now. And then I sensed movement in my dantian. Looked inward, and the green energy from last night had gone into my dantian, and it was changing. And on closer inspection, the green energy wasn't pure. It was hiding something. And in the very center of it was a small caterpillar, getting bigger, little by little, until it was an inch long. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly not good. 4 great body temperings. My body should be abundant with chi. Any parasite should have been crushed long ago. And this little caterpillar dodged all of it, which is clearly unusual. So, with a thought, the white tiger in my dantian opened its eyes, raised a front paw, and unleashed a lightning protective aura that sealed the caterpillar inside it. Then I split my blood chi into 3 and wrapped the other 3 marks, and breathed out. I just need to hold 2 more days. A tiger made of lightning is sitting on a worm inside a teenager's belly. And that's the Boys' Tuesday. That afternoon, everybody talked about the beheadings, and they blamed the destruction of the mass grave on the wild boar demon. And the biggest topic of all, Bachelor Yang finally set up her stall, and business was booming. The tofu shortage in Shaolin City is temporarily over. Otherwise, some restaurants would have had to buy from nearby towns, which would have been very inconvenient. 10 men were beheaded this afternoon, and the story of the day is the tofu. Nothing happened. After 8, with nobody around, I closed early. Threw the delivery away again, bought meat buns on the way, and went out through the dark path again, straight to the mass grave. And at the same time, men from the government office and the Demon Suppression Division were being dispatched in groups, led by the old Taoist, to begin setting up, inside the city. Ask me again what they're setting up while he's out farming ghosts. Woods quiet. Just insects and birds. Because evil spirits are common, almost nobody travels at night, never mind the deep forest. This world has a moon, too, and the moonlight is much brighter than back home. Ran the whole way. There in no time, countless lantern monsters, and I went straight in and started harvesting. Hands into claws, every swing deleted a crowd. Sometimes I opened my mouth and put out sound waves, and everything in the path exploded on the spot. This was a massacre. I went through that graveyard like a humanoid tiger. More of them than last night. Blue-white chi, excellent harvest. And I got lucky, 3 mutated ones, which give the good chi. Those 3 alone gave me 2 great body temperings in one night. First realm, 6th stage. Inside a day, every lantern monster in the mass grave was wiped out. And I was about to sit down and rest when a huge shape came out of the trees. The wild boar demon. Fangs grown back. Under a meter now, nothing next to the 2-meter ones from before. Bloodshot eyes, mist out of its nostrils, 4 hooves scraping the ground. Locked on me. Killing intent completely undisguised. You blurry last night. Tonight you've delivered yourself to my door. And I looked at it, and it was much stronger than last night. You can tell from the demonic chi, and I was right. Here's what happened to that pig. After it escaped, it ran around like a headless fly, wanting nothing except to get away from that beast. And while running, it found a nearly 1,000-year-old blood lingju on a weed-covered rock wall. Digested it, broke through, equivalent to human chi refining, 7th level. And its confidence came back. So under cover of night, it snuck back to where we fought, hoping to find Chen Wei, dismember him, and eat him to vent its anger. And the weather cooperated. He was right there. Enemies meeting are bound to be furious, and it charged. And seeing him exhausted, it felt its chances had improved significantly. That pig ran for its life, found a legendary treasure by accident while fleeing in terror, ate it, leveled up, and came back for revenge in under 24 hours. That's a protagonist's arc. It's happening to the comic relief. And to its surprise, the other party attacked again. Isn't that just asking to die? Enraged, 2 snorts, charged, bang. massive crater, dust everywhere. And I hadn't used full strength, so we were evenly matched. And the pig felt that, and confidence burst out of it. Interesting. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering. It saw me coming and stomped, showing no weakness. But it miscalculated. It didn't expect me to be so unethical as to use a martial skill. Unethical. He thinks using a technique is cheating. Martial skill is far more powerful than brute force, and the white tiger's second form counts as one. Snap. And thanks to my deliberate restraint, its foreleg broke instantly. 4 symbols, white tiger.
Thunder roar! Before it could recover, a silent sonic wave hit and churned its head. Eyes rolled back, foaming. That massive body collapsed, twitched twice, and died without a sound. Fong Hulin's tyrant is dead. Fong Hulin is the name of the forest the mass grave sits in. That thing had been wreaking havoc here a long time. More than a dozen people from Shaolin City and the villages have been eaten. The Demon Suppression Division sent a team and lost men. Gao Ming promised the city lord he'd handle it as soon as possible last night. And a teahouse waiter did it in about 9 seconds, on his way home with the second move he learned this morning. And the chi off it was high quality. There should have been time before the next tempering. That one wisp triggered the 7th immediately. Much more intense than the last 2, significantly less painful. Experience helps. And I sat there recovering, looking at that corpse. Strong demonic chi coming off it, life-threatening to an ordinary person who touched it. And I don't know how to deal with a body that size. They say a demon is treasure from head to toe. I don't know which parts are useful or what they do. He's standing over the most valuable corpse in the county, and he doesn't know how to open it. So while I waited, I took out the beast skin. Looked again. Apart from being flexible, nothing special. Is it really necessary to bind it with blood? Cut my finger. 1 drop. Hey, this looks promising. Red flash, and then silence. That's it? Held it up. Turned it left, right, up to the moonlight. Still nothing. And then the beast skin sensed something, and came off my palm on its own, and flew at the wild boar demon. And stopped above the corpse, and sent down streaks of red light, and the wild boar demon's body visibly shriveled, and all that demonic chi surged into the skin. Red light died. Skin came back to my hand, motionless. And fragmented information appeared in my head. There's a space inside it, but it's damaged, and it has to absorb energy to recover. Looked at it. No visible difference. Maybe recovery's slow. Thoughtful. Took precautions. Put it away. Good things can happen unexpectedly, but in this world, it's always best to be cautious. Qianbo hid a damaged treasure inside a joke book, wrapped in a curse, and sold it to a starving boy as a throw-in he was too cheap to give away for free. And I still can't tell whether he knew. And with 7 great body temperings, my senses are sharp. And I could hear people approaching fast, from the east and the north. No time to think, straight back to Shaolin City. Shaolin's to the west, nobody's coming from there. And not long after he left, 2 groups arrived, both demon suppression guards. Another great battle here, and this is where the wild boar demon finally disappeared. Guo Lei, a squad leader under Gao Ming, 7th level of chi refining. Same tier as the pig. That's what the government sends to hunt this stuff. That's the professional standard. And they've arrived at a crater, in a graveyard that has been emptied of every ghost in it, where the county's apex predator just shriveled into nothing, twice in 2 nights. And the man who did it is walking home eating a meat bun. 2 days left. Ask me again what happens when the Demon Suppression Division starts looking for whoever's doing this. There's a pool of blood here. Definitely the wild boar demon. We just don't know what became of it. A guard crouched where it fell, blood still on his fingers. Search the area again. If nothing turns up, back to the city. Guo Lei waved. Everyone scattered. He stayed. And then he looked closer. Such a strong trace of blood. That's the residual essence of a human. Could he be an evil cultivator? His face hardened, and he went to the exact spot Chen Wei had been sitting. Checked the graveyard. Found nothing of interest. Left. There it is. The Demon Suppression Division now has a case file and a theory.
An evil cultivator is out here, killing everything, and leaving human essence on the ground. And they're right about the essence. They're right about everything except the person. Past midnight, and the demon suppression guards who'd been lying in wait in the south and west of the city are fully mobilized, hunting the evil spirit behind the headless case, led by the old Taoist. A headless corpse. Slight breeze, unusually quiet. And to get home, I have to cross the vegetable market. Pat, pat. Something coming toward me. Frowned. Blood Chi came up. Turned around, slowly. A woman's laugh, and yin chi flooded the square, and bright red blood started running down the buildings and across the ground. And the 10 headless corpses on the pole started to move. Pop, 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 and a head made of congealed blood grew out of each severed neck, mouths open. Give me back my head. Give me back my head. And the ropes snapped, and 10 bodies hit the ground, dislocating. Crack! And the bones inside them cracked, and they stood up and walked, leisurely, toward me. Handsome, play with me. Female voices. From every direction, more than one. Deep breath, squinted, bloody footprints closing in. And I remembered the blood-red figure from the courtyard. They're in cahoots. Somebody's come for revenge. And I curled my lip and sneered inside. These are much stronger than yesterday's, but I'm stronger too. 2 negatives make a positive, so I should still come out ahead, right? That's his risk assessment. 10 reanimated executed criminals, an unknown number of blood shadow assassins, and a city square running with blood. And he did the arithmetic and decided he probably wins. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering. Blood chi surged, 1 claw strike forward. Ah! Scream, blood mist, and it recondensed instantly and pounced. Claw out, blood chi up, caught it by the throat. Much more solid than the last one, struggling frantically, useless. Both hands hammering me, stopped by the blood chi on my skin. And the rest rushed in. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar. And this time I called the white tiger in my Dantian, and a deafening tiger's roar came out, with lightning in it, and went out in every direction, and every blood shadow that had charged exploded into ash. 8 wisps of chi, and the 10 headless corpses went down flat, and the bloodheads dissipated where they stood. 10 more wisps. The one in my hand was tougher, took it head on and still hadn't dispersed. See if you don't die soon! And I ran current straight down my arm into it, and it was gone before it could scream. Another wisp, much stronger, still not as good as the wild boar demon. Click. The world shattered around us, and the phenomena faded, and the 10 headless corpses just lay there. I'll take your life. Laifu Inn, south of the city. An old woman spat out several mouthfuls of blood, killing intent pouring off her. And she came out of the window and headed for Chen Wei. He's been killing her people all night, and she's been feeling every one of them. And when I let the thunder out, many cultivators in the city heard it, and some who consider themselves very powerful are coming. And I sensed them, high and low, all heading here, none of them stopping. But it was too late. Thump, and a headless figure appeared in the market. The headless corpse evil spirit. The thing the old Taoist and the entire demon suppression division have been hunting all night. Ambushed, almost scattered by the old man, and in its panic, it sensed strong blood in the air and fled toward it. And arrived and found a young man, still giving off that delicious blood aura. Like it had seen a super powerful pill, it charged without a word, without even checking its surroundings. Because if it could just drink that boy's blood, it could recover. Maybe go further, maybe turn the whole battle around. Long fingernails, like murder weapons, chilling, still stained with blood that hadn't dried. And it went for me. No mercy. Young man, get out of the way. The old Taoist arriving first, seeing the whole situation. Talisman in hand, spiritual power in, arcs of electricity off it, and he threw it at the headless spirit. And then used his movement art and came in like the wind to save me. Too late! The spirit burned its own essence blood to eat the talisman. Accelerated again, arrived, slashed down. And I just stared at it. What do you want? A city-terrorizing serial murderer. The thing that has been beheading people in their sleep for a week, that a whole government agency could not corner, came at his throat. And he was confused, frowned, and put a void shatter into it. Bang, and it was launched backward with half its body gone. You deserve to die. You deserve to die. You deserve to die. Somewhat surprised at its vitality, still alive. And in that moment, I covered my face with the black cloth I'd prepared in advance, leaving only the dark circles showing, so the old Taoist wouldn't see my face. He'd prepared it in advance. He walked out of that tea house tonight with a mask in his pocket, because he knew he might have to fight in front of witnesses. He's 17. He's had superpowers for 3 days, and he already has operational security. And the old Taoist arrived beside him. Your Excellency is truly impressive. Your Excellency. The man who was called in by the government office to solve the case. The man who examined the fangs and worked out there was a 7th-level qi refining cultivator loose in the county. He just found him, and he's addressing him with respect. And underneath that mask is a boy who will be on a table in 2 days, whose boss is in a secret room with the city lord and this man's employers, and whose entire martial arts education is a counterfeit book he bought for 2 months' wages from a fraud. 2 days left. Ask me again what a demon hunter says to the masked stranger who just solved his case. He stared at me for a moment, slightly incredulous compliment. So-so. So-so. 2 months ago he was a waiter. Tonight, a Taoist master called him Your Excellency, and he said so-so in a fake voice through a black rag. You beast, await your death. You damned old bastard, and that damned scum next to you, you're all going to die. And the headless corpse evil spirit turned into a ball of flesh and rushed the 10 headless corpses from this afternoon's execution. Not good. The old Taoist hadn't checked his surroundings. By the time he saw it, too late. He flicked out a dozen talismans and slapped them across the gap. Boom. Thick smoke. And when it cleared, the corpses were gone, and in their place stood a 10-meter giant of flesh. Tattered, torn, headless, and its whole body covered in human heads, every one of them roaring silently with its mouth open. And wraiths moving around inside it, trying to break out through the membrane. Smoke no harm, that's absolutely true. And I twitched the corner of my mouth at it. And the old Taoist looked at me, speechless, not expecting this person to still be in the mood to make fun of him. A 10-meter meat golem made of executed criminals just stood up in the market square, and the boy made a joke about his fireworks. And a slit opened in the giant's stomach, revealing a gaping maw. And 2 long tongues with mouth parts came out and licked at us both. Grass! Dodged, left a crater. Old Taoist reacted fast and retreated. Your Excellency. He was about to propose joining forces, and I'd already gone in. Your Excellency, that's impulsive. This beast's strength has reached the 9th level of qi refining, nearly half-step foundation establishment. Without joining forces, this may be difficult. And he felt an impulse and got ready to charge in and help. Ah! And the flesh giant hit the ground, knocked flat by the masked man with 1 punch. This! Surprised. And the giant fired the tongues again, not 2, 20. Fast as wind, straight at me. Focused, blood chi over my whole body, moving like lightning, dodging through them, closing in. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering. And a giant tiger claw of blood chi formed over me, with arcs of electricity in it, and came down. Ah! And the flesh giant was smashed apart, meat everywhere, and the wraiths scattered and fled. I, will be wiped out. Unable to sense any trace of the headless spirit, the old Taoist stared at that scene and couldn't settle for a long time. I am qi refining, 9th level, and although I could kill that thing by using methods, I don't think I could do it that decisively. I never expected this masked man to be so powerful. Half-step foundation establishment? Or is he already foundation establishment? Couldn't read my realm at all, which didn't stop him guessing wildly. He is guessing up. He's a 9th-level master with an agency behind him, and he's looking at a masked teenager and trying to work out how many tiers above him he is. The answer is none. The answer is 7 great body temperings, a dead art, and a lightning tiger in his gut. He took out a gourd, mumbled something incomprehensible, and wraiths got sucked straight in. But I thought differently, because I hadn't received the blue-white chi, which means it's still alive. Don't get distracted. The enemy's still alive. Impossible. I can't even sense its presence. He'd seen through the move. It carried the power of lightning, the thing evil spirits fear most. After a direct hit like that, its body is in pieces. How could it live? That's the edge. The master has decades of experience, techniques, talismans, and a gourd. And Chen Wei has an accounting system. No chi, not dead. He doesn't need to sense anything. His superpower is that he gets a receipt. Surprised by that sensitivity, the evil spirit stopped pretending. And tentacles sprouted out of every chunk of meat on the ground, covered in dense, fleshy barbs. An ordinary person touched by one is crippled, if not dead. Densely packed mouthparts on the barbs. And the swirling teeth inside the mouthparts, tiny, actually sparked when they touched each other. Blood chi up, several strikes, tentacles shattered from every direction. And the old Taoist had a whisk out at some point and was smacking them to pieces. And several talismans floated around him as a shield, blocking what he couldn't reach. But those tentacles seem to be immortal. They keep coming back. This is the way of immortal cultivation. It's fucking awesome. And I felt a pang of envy. I wonder if I'm suited for that path. And I decided that once this thing was dead, I'd take down the old Taoist and ask him some questions, in a friendly manner. And the old Taoist suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He is fighting for his life beside a masked ally, and his survival instinct just correctly told him that his teammate is planning to mug him for a tutorial. Sensing the presences still closing in, I decided to stop dragging this out. These tentacles can't be cleared, so there's a core somewhere. Looked around. Nothing suspicious. Old Tao, step back. He didn't understand. He stepped back. Blood chi up another level, fist into the ground, and a shockwave went out, and every piece of meat on that square came off the floor. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar. And the roar went out, and every airborne chunk turned to powder, and I spread the blood chi outward, and a dark shape shot away to the side. Found it. And I turned and grabbed a heart. Let me go. Ignored it. Crushed it. Black mist came up. Ah! A flash of electricity in my hand, gone into the mist. A sharp sound, and then silence. And a wisp of blue-white chi went in. Receipt received. That beast has been destroyed. The old Taoist arrived, looking around, and Chen Wei appeared behind him and delivered a swift, decisive chop to the neck. 12 seconds. He fought beside that man. He saved him. They won. In the instant the enemy died, the boy walked around behind his ally and knocked him out, because that man knows magic and won't teach him. And the friendly questions start now. 2 days left, and a Taoist master unconscious in a market square full of powdered corpses. Ask me again what a boy asks a man he's just abducted. He hastily threw up a defense. Snap, out, and I happily hoisted him onto my shoulder and was gone into the alley. And not long after, the crowd arrived at the market, saw the mess, and immediately became wary of each other. Nobody knows who did it, so now every cultivator in Shaolin City is standing in a square full of powder, suspecting each other. And the old woman who ran the blood shadows sensed my location in advance and changed direction to chase. East Shaolin City, a deserted ruin. 8 years ago, there was a huge fire here that killed many people. Weeping can often be heard at night, and people frequently go missing. Rumor says those who burned are trapped, unable to reincarnate, turn to vengeful ghosts, and they take passers-by to keep them company. The government office and the Demon Suppression Division sent men, found nothing, matter dropped. And the rumors grew wilder, and everyone nearby moved away. Now it's wasteland. People avoid it. And Fa Hua Temple is there. Once very popular, worshippers coming and going. The temple survived the fire. The monks were all gone. Now, disrepair, overgrown, spiderwebs across the main hall.
And the Buddha statue in the center is only half there. The rest is missing. And tonight, a masked man carrying an old Taoist walked into that hall. I thought it over and came here on purpose. I've heard people talk about this place in the teahouse. It's supposed to be very eerie. And after the chi off the headless corpse evil spirit, the next great body tempering is close. I need to seize the time. Only 2 days left. Shopkeeper Chen doesn't pay much attention to me. I'm not afraid of being caught out all night. And if they find out, so be it. I have some basics now, though it's unclear whether they're enough. I'd thought about coming here to grind a few times, and since I need experience tonight, here I am. Perhaps I'll actually run into a few evil spirits, which would help. He picked the most haunted location in the county as an interrogation room, because it's quiet and because he's hoping the ghosts show up while he's here. He brought a hostage to a farm. Threw old Yoon on the ground, sat down on the futon next to him. Ouch! He winced, clutching his back, patting his head, grimacing as he got up. Looked around and settled on me. Clup up. Dark circles, looking over. Yes, Your Excellency is so rude. We can talk things out. Why resort to violence? I can't take this kind of abuse. So what is it? He's not scared. Kate open-minded about it, because if the other party hadn't gone all out, obviously they want something. It's nothing. I just wanted to ask you about something. I didn't expect him to be so decisive. I thought I'd have to do something else. That's it? And you needed to drag me here for that? Eyes wide, genuinely wanting to stomp on the masked man opposite him. He thought something serious had happened, and it's this? A lot of people rushed over just then. I was trying to keep a low profile, and I was afraid you wouldn't agree. So I patted you on the shoulder. Who knew your body needs some nourishment? All right, ask whatever you want. I'll tell you everything I know. Are you from the way of immortal cultivation? That's true, but achieving immortal ascension in this world is very difficult these days. You don't know the immortal Tao? And he sensed something wrong. This person is so powerful, he might even be Foundation establishment, and he doesn't know the immortal Tao? And then he remembered how I fought, and started pacing, and then his face went white, like he'd seen a ghost. You practice martial arts? That's right, his powerful chi blood force. He'd never detected any spiritual energy in me, not once, not even during the fight. But how is that possible? And here's why he's terrified. Relative Tao is a legend. It is no longer recognized by the heavenly Tao, and because of the environment, cultivating it to success is no longer possible. It's not that nobody's tried. Fate doesn't allow it. Dedicate your entire life, and it's in vain. So martial arts became the past, gradually forgotten. A few words and a few classic texts. Nowadays, some ordinary people imitate the manuals for physical fitness. Internal energy? Don't even think about it. And the masked man in front of him has actually achieved it, and a major achievement at that. And the strength he showed is far beyond what an ordinary chi-refining cultivator could match. It is no longer recognized by the heavenly Tao. The universe canceled that path. And nobody told Chen Wei, so he bought the manual from a fraud, memorized it out of spite, and did it anyway, and the sky hasn't noticed yet. I squinted, didn't explain much, because I don't understand it either. It might be related to my unique physiology, and if that's the case, it's unrepeatable. Nobody else could do it by practicing. I want to know if I can use the way of immortal cultivation, he thought, then took out a pure white bead and threw it over. Spirit stone test. Just grab it. You'll get your result. There doesn't seem to be any reaction. Frowned, looked at him. The way of immortal cultivation requires a spiritual root. Only with a spiritual root can you absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. The stone checks for one. If you have it, it glows. Otherwise, nothing. He shook his head. It seems you can't walk the immortal path. And I sat there, staring at that stone for a long time, and then sighed, and tossed it back. Those with the way of immortal cultivation are 1 in 10,000. Especially now, spiritual roots are even rarer. Take it easy.
comfort from the man he abducted. Besides, the way of immortal cultivation isn't necessarily a good thing, and he stared at me meaningfully when he said that. It might not be a good thing? Surprised. And he clearly had no intention of explaining. Hold that. An immortal cultivator, a 9th level master working for the government, just told a stranger that his own path might be a bad thing, and then closed his mouth. So I dropped it and asked something else. Besides chi refining and foundation establishment, what other realms are there? You know about foundation establishment? The boy read half a burned travelogue. That's his entire library. And it made a master jump. Currently, the immortal path has 4 realms: chi refining, foundation establishment, divine soul, and xiantian. After xiantian, you were called a land immortal. It's said that 10,000 years ago there were realms above that. They can no longer be reached. Even xiantian is now rarely attained. Everything in this world is a ruin. Martial arts, cut off. Immortal cultivation, capped. The realms above xiantian, gone. The great Jin dynasty, collapsed. Fa temple, empty. The Buddha, half missing. 10,000 years ago, something happened, and every road out of this world got shut. And the only person walking, a dead one, is a waiter who is too stubborn to admit he'd been scammed. What realm are you? And what was that headless thing? Because I want to know, roughly, where I stand. Ask me again where a teahouse waiter ranks in a world with no roads left. I am chi refining, 9th level. That evil spirit, before it went giant, was equivalent to 8th. After, slightly stronger than 9th, only slightly. Nothing held back. So there's the scale, finally, from a professional. 9th level is the master who leads government hunts. The thing that terrorized the city was slightly above that, and Chen Wei killed it in about 4 moves and made a joke halfway through. You can leave now. Waved him off, fell into thought. Found you, you little bastard! And spiritual energy swept in from outside. Doors and windows shattered, and a chilling aura filled the hall. Both of us moved before it landed. Bone Witch Maiden, what are you trying to do, you old bastard? Furious. Taoist Yun Shan, this is none of your business. Get lost. I'm killing this little bastard today. The Bone Witch Maiden, a short, bent old woman on a cane. No flesh on her face, skin and bones. Wrinkles everywhere, more like goosebumps than chicken skin. Eye sockets sunken like the openings of 2 abysses. No eyeballs visible at all. Clothes tattered, showing patches of dark skin. But her hair was jet black, shiny. Thick, enough to make most balding men envious. A corpse thing with no eyes and magnificent hair, and the narration stopped the horror to be jealous about it. And she slammed the cane down, and blood ran out across the hall, revealing a dense trail of footprints. Old Tao, isn't this old woman a heretical cultivator? Aren't you going to exorcise her and protect the Tao? Moving my hands and feet, twisting my neck, very casual. Ha ha ha, exercise? This little bastard really doesn't know his own limits. Ask him if he dares. Ask him if he even can. Exponentially glint. Looks like you're a kid who hasn't even grown his feathers. A newcomer to cultivation, aren't you? And how can a man say no? And I just looked at old Yoon, blankly. Aren't you going to rebut that? Old woman, don't think I'm afraid just because your realm is higher than mine. His face went ugly. He hadn't expected to be slapped in front of others and lose face. But no matter how you look at it, that sounds blustering outside and weak inside. You can go. This old lady's here for me. It has nothing to do with you. Because I was worried about the blue-white chi I need for the 8th body tempering. And it came to me, so why be polite? And I stepped forward, blood chi erupting, and looked down at her. Come on, you sent 2 blood shadows to kill me, and I hadn't even come looking for you yet, and you're already in a hurry? I'd already worked out she's much stronger than the headless corpse evil spirit. I don't know if I can handle her. There's no way out. Licked my dry lips, looked around, and settled on her. These are all body tempering experiences. We absolutely cannot let them go. She's a monster who outranks the government's best man, and to him she's XP that walked in the door. Get out! And I kicked old Yoon out of the hall. She didn't move, and more blood-red footprints filled the hall, closing on me. 4 symbols: white tiger, thunder roar. Extremely suitable for wide area work. Sonic boom, outward, arcs of electricity in it. Pop, 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 shattering. And shrill screams. And without pausing, I charged straight at her. Whole body and blood chi, crackling, no mercy, out of that hall like lightning. How dare you! But you'll still die. She watched me annihilate her refined blood shadows in one move and barely cared. Instead, her eyes blazed with killing intent, locked on my charge. And just as I reached her, a fountain of blood opened under her, thick, sticky, and she waved a hand, and skulls came out of it, hundreds, then thousands, in a blink. Bloodspring demon skull, teeth clenched, relentless, unstoppable, like they'd tear apart everything in their path. 4 symbols: white tiger, void shattering. Right hand into a claw, blood chi forming a tiger claw several meters high, slammed down. Boom, evenly matched, canceled out in midair. Claw dissipated, skulls pulled back into the fountain. You old bastard, prepare to die! Didn't stop, slapped at her. Overestimating yourself! Sneer, and her cane filled with immense spiritual power, and thrust. Snap. And the blood chi around my right hand was torn straight open. Not good. Hadn't expected her attack to be that sharp. Threw the left hand out, blood chi, solid exchange. Pfft. And the cane still went an inch into my palm. Boom. And I was launched backward like a cannonball, into the hall. From my sonic attack to that exchange, everything happened in a blink. Cough, cough, cough. Pushed the rubble off, stood up, coughing. I knew in advance she was powerful, and I overestimated myself. I'm no match for her right now. Not bad, not bad. I never expected you to study martial arts. This is truly a stroke of luck. Eyes gleaming, long tongue sweeping her lips. She never expected to gain this much from the trip. She doesn't know how he learned it. She no longer cares. She understands the principle. Possessing a treasure is itself a crime. If others knew there was a martial artist here, it's uncertain she'd even get a turn, so she cannot let him live. Here's what he actually is, from someone who knows the price. A martial arts master. What a rare breed. Or rather, there probably isn't another one in the world today. That kind of cultivator has superhumanly rich blood chi. Their whole body is treasure. Ate him, and you don't just prolong your life. You break through your existing realm and enter Foundation establishment. Now I understand Shopkeeper Chen. Now I understand the Table of 5. Now I understand the seed is ripe. He's not food. He is the only door left out of a world where every road is closed. And there are 5 people in a secret room with a city lord and a philanthropist who worked that out first. It seems you can't be allowed to live either. And she turned to Taoist Yunshan, killing intent. Blood demon! She poured a bucket of talismans into the fountain. Plop! In a blood shadow 3 jang tall came out of it, and went for the old Taoist. Witch maiden, you fucking want to die. She's not fighting a boy anymore. She's cleaning up witnesses, because the thing standing in that ruin is worth more than her life, and she knows exactly what happens if word gets out. 2 days until the full moon, and she plans to eat him tonight. Ask me again who else in this city knows what he is. Taoist Yunshan was frantic. He had suffered an undeserved calamity. He engaged the blood demon, holding nothing back. Wah! Be good nourishment for this old woman. And she turned back to me, and I just stood there, silent, squinting at her. The blood chi on my body hadn't dropped, which made her hesitant. And I was so happy, because I'd already absorbed dozens of wisps of chi, and the 8th great body tempering had started. Those blood shadows I wiped out in the hall were extremely valuable, so I wasn't flustered at all. Under her command, blood shadows filled the hall again, closing on me. Meanwhile, outside, Mystic Thunder Rune Array! Taoist Yunshan is quite well known around here. No match for her. Doesn't mean he can't handle a blood demon. Nowadays, every cultivator has a few cards. The blood demon cost her dearly to raise. It also has 9th level chi refining strength, so facing something in his own realm, he had to take it seriously. 10 talismans up. Incantation. And they surrounded the blood demon,
and linked with lightning, and it condensed and struck. Lightning is extremely lethal to evil spirits. Roar! White smoke coming off it. Its outer layer was viscous blood, and now it churned and contracted, revealing an enormous skeleton, which reached out, grabbed 2 talismans, and tore them apart, completely ignoring the lightning. Yunshan frowned, bit his finger, flicked blood onto a talisman. Crackling. Power up. Defense up a rank. Stalemate. Back in the hall, she'd stopped caring about the blood demon, just diverting some blood from the fountain to keep it going. All her attention on me, because she can't delay. Once the others arrive, she's finished. She isn't confident she can fight the whole city's cultivators alone, so she resolved to act fast and threw the Blood Shadow squad around me to test my situation. And I was in the middle of the 8th great body tempering, with an enemy in front of me, so I endured the excruciating pain and did not make a sound. Nearly done, about 15 minutes left. Once my strength goes up again, she's easy. And here's what she saw. He'd occasionally take a deep breath, then rub his forehead as if in deep thought, then roll his eyes, grit his teeth, contort his face. And to the Bone Witch Maiden, all of that read as a man preparing some terrifying technique. She was overthinking it. He was just about to give up because of the pain. He held his anger in the whole time, stubbornly. She's being held off by a boy's pain face. The most dangerous thing in the county is standing there not attacking, because the agony of a teenager's puberty from hell looks like a charging attack. And the blood shadows closed in. Forced up a portion of blood chi, sweeping strike, everything that came near turned to ash. More than 10 wisps, and the tempering accelerated. And she noticed his attack power had gone up again, and on closer look, his intelligence was constantly rising too. She doesn't know the principle. It's clearly not a good thing. So she ordered the shadows in without regard for cost, and grabbed her cane and charged herself. She has to stop this now. She finally understands. He isn't fighting her. He's eating at her expense. Every shadow she throws makes him stronger. She built the perfect feeding machine and pointed it at the one man on Earth who digests it. 4 symbols. White tiger. Thunder roar. Smiled slightly, stopped holding back. And that roar carried everything he'd been swallowing, and its power increased enormously. Every shadow on every side exploded. Dozens of wisps. At once, and blood came out of his 7 orifices, and countless cracks opened across his body with blood pouring out, a blood-soaked man. And his breathing went weak, instantly. And her eyes narrowed, and she broke through the sonic boom, and appeared above his head, and brought the cane down. Boom! Terrifying spiritual power in it. Imagine it unrestrained. Deep crater on the spot, overflowing energy rushing outward. Yunshan and the blood demon were both blown backward. Smoke and dust, view obscured. For some unknown reason, the blood demon's aura dropped sharply. Yunshan seized it. The long sword off his back flew, explosive spiritual power, and punched down into the blood demon's core. Crack! Shattered. Not reassured, he pulled the thunder talismans and threw dozens of fire talismans. Bang! Burned to ash, and he ran for the crater. And the dust cleared, and Chen Wei was standing, shirtless, blood aura even thicker, a meter off his body, his left hand gripping the Bone Witch Maiden's cane, his right hand around her throat, struggling, clearly in vain. She went for the blood fountain, and he stomped on it and destroyed it. You, terrified. Both of them felt it, even if they couldn't see it. Let me go, I... She took a monster's full power strike to the skull, and came out the other side of the dust with his hand on her neck. And I sneered, and a huge tiger's shadow appeared behind me, and went into her body, and she withered. A slight exertion turned to ash, scattered on the ground. At the last moment, I took in a lot of chi, which accelerated the tempering and hit me much harder. But I made it through. 1st realm, 8th stage, and a dense blue-white chi went into me. Let me count the knight. He went out to grind lanterns. He killed a wild boar demon the Demon Suppression Division lost men to. 10 reanimated corpses. A squad of blood shadows. The headless corpse evil spirit the entire agency was hunting. A 10-meter flesh giant. And the Bone Witch Maiden, a monster above the government's best man. He abducted a Taoist master and interrogated him. He found out he has no spiritual root and can never be an immortal. He found out the path he's on has been dead for 10,000 years and the sky doesn't recognize it. He found out that his whole body is a doorway, and that's exactly why 5 people are going to eat him. And there's still 1 day left. Ask me again what Taoist Yun Shan does now that he's seen it all. So killing evil cultivators produces blue-white qi, too. Filed. New food group discovered. So it was you! Standing at the edge of the pit, surprised. Because my face was showing. He's been to the Xiangyun tea house. He's met me. He knows I'm the waiter. He knows me as Grand Bully. And at that moment, a wisp of blue-white qi came off him and went into me. He's still paying rent, and he still can't see it. What, you want to eat me too? Jumped out of the pit. No. I'm a proper cultivator, not an evil one. Backing up, shaking his head hard. Eat him? That's just suicide. I just don't understand. Am I really that fragrant? That delicious? And here's the answer, from a man who has no reason to lie anymore. In this day and age, anything with abundant blood, including people, gets snatched up by cultivators. Especially someone who cultivates martial arts. You're even more sought after. I've heard that in the L at E stages of martial arts cultivation, the fate of those martial Dao cultivators was quite tragic. Shook his head. Sighed. Read that again. Not, it declined. Not, the sky stopped recognizing it. The martial artists got eaten. That's what happened to a way of being human 10,000 years ago. It didn't die out. It got farmed to extinction because every one of them was a doorway and everybody else wanted through. And Chen Wei is walking that exact road, alone, in a city where 5 people are already sharpening knives. Be careful from now on. Control your temper. Otherwise, if you get targeted, you're in big trouble. By then, I'd already restrained the blood qi, otherwise it wouldn't be pretty if Shopkeeper Chen noticed. We need to leave, now. Yun Shan had already sensed many people closing in. I'm afraid we won't be able to leave. Frowned, looked around. Exist. So sense it too. Surprised. And black smoke came out of the ground. And yin qi filled everything. And in a blink, both of them were gone. And then the smoke vanished, and the yin qi shrank, as if it had never been there. Only a large crater left, showing how intense the battle was. Whoosh, 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 and figures started arriving, most of them from the vegetable market, and found the place deserted. Only traces of blood and evil spirits. Bone Witch Maiden's signature, Taoist Yun Shan's signature, and an ordinary person, Gao Ming, investigating, reaching a conclusion. He already knows the ordinary person is Chen Wei. And then Shopkeeper Chen arrived, and Boss Shu, and Zhou Hong, and City Lord Song Hua Yu. Gao Ming told them what he'd found. Shopkeeper Chen, where's the little guy? I can no longer sense his location. I only know where he last disappeared. His expression was rather unpleasant. Humph, if it weren't for you, I'd have taken him down last time. Gao Ming, snorting. I explained it to you last time. The time isn't right. I'm too lazy to explain again. And he closed his eyes and tried again. Nothing. They're at the crater, all 5. The city lord, the philanthropist, the demon hunter, the restaurateur, and his boss, standing over the ashes of a monster that could have beaten every one of them, that their dinner killed by hand. And their leash has gone dead, and they're arguing about whose fault it is. Meanwhile, the world had changed. Everything going dark, sky turning blood red, 2 blood moons hanging in it, strong yin qi everywhere. And they were standing at the main gate of Fahua Temple. Except Fahua Temple was razed to the ground in the fight. There is no main gate, and now it's perfectly fine, which is very unreasonable. And the area around it, which was a ruin, now has houses, none of them lit, all of it unbelievable. Then, this might be the ghost realm. The surrounding area must be the part that burned down. Deep breath. Isn't that just a rumor? Even the Demon Suppression Division found nothing suspicious. Sensing around me. Deathly silent. That was to keep the civilians calm. Otherwise, why did everyone in the neighborhood move away? The government office led that. Here's what actually happened 8 years ago. A ghost realm did form.
The government office wanted it eliminated, so they sent the Demon Suppression Division in, group after group. And even the Foundation establishment cultivators, without exception, disappeared without a trace. And finally, as a last resort, they used force to fill in the entrance and seal it. Foundation establishment. A whole realm above the 9th level master standing next to him. They went in, every one of them, and nothing came out. So the government bricked it up and told the city it was a rumor. The battle just now was probably too intense. It tore a hole in the ghost realm, and we got caught in it. If that's true, then we're probably in big trouble. Sat down on the ground and started recovering. That looks unlikely. Sigh. They sent Foundation establishment cultivators in there. None came back. That's how perilous it is. Da, da, da. And the sound of a wooden fish came out of Manhwa temple, followed by chanting. Gulp. The old Taoist swallowed hard and looked at the gate. Playing tricks. Recovered, stood up, squinting at the temple gate. Squeak! The door opened by itself. Can we go in or not? He was a little scared. If we won't go in, it would be so shameless of us to just walk in when they tell us to. Turned around to look for another way. Because I dislike being led by the nose most of all, a dimension that ate an entire government agency held the door open for him, and he refused on principle. But behind them the road was gone, and the buildings were gone, replaced by thick black fog, as if Manhwa temple were the only thing left in the entire space. And the yin qi got stronger, and both of them felt the chill. One day left. Ask me again what's chanting inside a temple that shouldn't exist. Looks like we have no choice but to go. Wisp of blood qi through my body, stepped through the main door. Well, he came quickly after. Squeak, clang, and the door shut. And the space went silent, still as a stagnant pool. No living things anywhere, no monks, courtyard completely empty. Squeak! And the hall's gate opened by itself again. From outside you can't see in, just a hazy gray. The wooden fish and the chanting are coming from inside, and the doors closed behind us. And the moment I crossed the threshold, the world flowed and cleared. The Buddha statue in the center is intact, but its head is hidden by something. You can't see it. The rest is clear, 50 or 60 feet tall, not counting the head, entirely golden. The one outside is half missing, the one in here is whole, and its face is still refusing to be looked at. And on cushions down both sides sat many bald monks, striking wooden fish, chanting something unknown, all of them with their backs to us. And I felt the chanting had a kind of magic, going deep into my mind, putting me in a trance. Dizzy, drowsy, and a dark figure appeared above my head and exhaled black smoke down toward it. Noticed, blood straight to the head. Pop, awake, and the shadow above me dispersed. Wisp of qi. And I looked back, and Taoist Yunshan had his eyes closed, and the shadow over him had already connected, and it looked about to disappear into him completely. Flash to his side, right hand in blood qi, grabbed it. It tried to escape. Too late. Gah! Pulled it out of him, blood qi in, pulverized. Another wisp. Smack. He was still confused, so I hit him with a big punch. Oh no, I've been infected! Jolted awake, belatedly realizing, grabbed a stack of talismans and looked around, nervous. Relax, don't accidentally hit friendly forces. Took a few steps back, quickly, afraid he'd start swinging at anything. Thank you, young man. He worked out what had happened, and that Chen Wei had saved his life. Twice now. The master walked into a mine trap and was 11 seconds from being hollowed out. And the boy just noticed. Because blood qi to the head clears it, and nothing in this world has been able to get inside him since the day he arrived. Then his expression went serious. There's something wrong with these sounds. And the chanting stopped. Dead. And the wooden fish stopped. Gulp. And blood started running out of the walls, the doors, the windows, and yin qi gathered on us. Watch me! Out came a stack of talismans. Hurry, hurry, as the law commands! Scattered them, kept 3. Bit his finger, smeared all 3, fired them in 3 directions. Ding ding ding, dot asterisk, into the 3 pillars of the hall. Boundless yang fire! He'd already sealed spiritual power into them, and all 3 burst into flame. And then every talisman on the floor did, and the space itself seemed to burn and visibly shattered, and all that blood vanished. And a gust of wind came through and raised dust and showed us the hall, dilapidated, covered in cobwebs, tables under dust, and every monk was gone. Hallucination? Marveling at the immortal's skill. Yes, when you moved earlier, I noticed unusual fluctuations in the space, and guessed we might be in an illusion. Clapped his hands, as if discussing something very ordinary. And that's what an immortal cultivator is for. Chen Wei can punch a god. He cannot see a lie. That old man read the texture of reality off a ripple and burned it down with 3 pieces of paper and his own blood. And he made it look like housework. Ooh, yeah. Sounds from outside, getting louder, getting closer. Footsteps. My senses are sharp now. Quite a few. His eyes widened too. And then we found out. Hundreds, thousands, walking corpses. Some missing limbs, some completely rotted, not one intact part. Bare bone showing in many places. All sorts of bizarre shapes. And they knocked down the outer walls of the temple. These are walking corpses. Move! Tried to break out of the hall first. Bang! And 2 dark shapes came down off the roof, incredibly fast, going for our heads. Both of us reacted immediately. I was more direct, sidestepped and punched the thing in the head. Snap. Bones breaking. And it was launched away. Yunshan put up a talisman shield first, then forced his back with spiritual power. And on closer inspection, I'd shot down a wolf. And old Yun had shot down a dog. A wolf. And a dog. 8 years ago, this district burned and everything in it died, including the pets, and the ghost realm kept them. 1 day left. Ask me again what a district full of the burned does with 2 men who wandered in. Both mutated. Only bits of rotten flesh left, small black insects crawling on the exposed bone, bone spurs down the limbs, claws giving off a cold light. No eyeballs, just 2 red points in each socket. And their fangs don't point down, they point forward, 5 inches, blocking the doorway. Thank goodness, only 8th level chi refining, otherwise this would have been difficult. Relieved. The dog is 1 tier below the government's best man, and he's relieved. And the walking corpses had completely surrounded the hall. Perhaps because of the wolf and dog, the rest didn't rush. They just kept grinning, staring. Damn it, that look again. I'll wipe you all out today. That's what broke him. Not the 1,000 corpses, not the 2 blood moon sky. The look. The exact look Shopkeeper Chen gives him. The one Shu Bao gave him over the food. The one Qian Bo had through the crack in the door. Everything in this world looks at him like a meal, and he has finally had enough. Blood energy out, slapped the mutated wolf. Both of them howled and charged. Heaven and earth are boundless. Borrowing the power of heaven and earth, unsheath. He was startled by my aura, too. His hands didn't stop. A few seals and a spirit sword appeared out of nothing and went at the dog. And the wolf's front paw grew several times larger, and we traded. Bang! Shockwave outward. Walking corpses near the door exploded. More behind them went over. I took a few steps back. And the wolf's giant claw shattered at the root, 3 legs left, and it went backward into the corpse pile. Pfft! And it punched a claw through a walking corpse's head, and shook the others off, and took a bite. And the missing leg grew straight back. It refuels. On the crowd. The 1,000 corpses aren't the army, they're the ammunition. Aw. And it charged again. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering. Snorted, dodged both attacks, struck it on the head. Bang! Head exploded, and I put an arc of electricity into it. Bright white light off the body, white smoke rising, and it turned to ash before it landed. And the wind took it. Wisp of chi. Meanwhile, the dog was in a raging inferno and about to be ash. Smack! And a huge blood-red hand came down and reduced it to nothing. Another wisp. You, smirking. Cough, cough, cough. I'm doing this to save time. It was obviously for the chi. Those killed by your own hand are higher quality than what you pick up off others. Those killed was repeated body tempering. You protect yourself and find the way out. I'll handle the walking corpses. Dating cider, flexed my wrists, didn't wait for an answer, walked into the crowd. And the old Taoist filed Chen Wei under passionate young man. He's 1,000 corpses deep in a dimension that ate a government agency, and the old man's assessment is, kids these days? And with that much blood chi coming off me, every corpse abandoned old Yun and came for me. Bang, bang, bang. Fierce fighting, chaotic screaming. He'd observed them. Strongest is chi refining, level 2 or 3. For Chen Wei, that's as easy as drinking water. No challenge at all. A one-sided massacre. He snapped out of it and looked into the distance. The outside world remains a mystery. So he took 10 talismans, folded them into 10 paper cranes, and sent them flying out. And when the noise died down, I came back in. First realm, 8th stage. And despite the wolf, the dog, and all those corpses, the next great body tempering still feels far away. There's the ceiling arriving, 1,000 corpses, and it barely moved the needle. Weak things stop working. He's outgrown the graveyard. He's outgrown the city. He needs bigger prey. And there's exactly one thing left in Shaolin worth eating. So, find anything? Not yet. The cranes are out. Results soon. Boom! Something outside, and the whole place shook, and a malevolent force appeared in the courtyard, and it got stronger and stronger. And I went out first, because I was a little excited. Meanwhile, the Zhou family manor, all 5 of them. They searched the ruins of Manhwa Temple for a long time. No trace of Chen Wei. Although the little thing has gone missing, our plan continues. It cannot be put on hold. Zhou Hong, expression unchanged. It seems we have no choice but to activate the backup. Not as effective as the pure body, but it's still a special physique. It'll be just about enough. City Lord Song Hui Yu. The backup. There's another one. There was always another one. There are still 2 days. Give her a good rest and recuperation. Special physiques are hard to find. Make sure she's well cared for this time. There can't be any more mistakes. Or don't blame me for being ruthless. Zhou Hong's expression went cold. Killing intent, released without hesitation. Her. This time. There can't be any more mistakes. They've done this before, and the great philanthropist, the man who feeds refugees and builds the bridges, just told a city lord to make sure the girl is comfortable while she rests, so she keeps well. I hope Shopkeeper Chen will keep a close eye on the Manhwa Temple site. If that little thing appears, capture it immediately. Avoid further complications. Gao Ming, snorting. Are you teaching me how to do my job? Shopkeeper Chen, squinting at him. Shopkeeper Chen, don't get angry. Boss Shu, peacemaking. And finally, Song Hui Yu picked up a little girl from a house in the south of the city. The city lord went to a house and collected a child. And nobody in Shaolin City will ever ask where she went, because the man who took her is the question you'd ask. And she's the backup. And the only reason she's on that table instead of a boy is that the boy fell through a hole in the world while grinding ghosts. 2 days. Ask me again what's coming into that courtyard. A red, fleshy ball floating in the air. And every fragment of walking corpse in that courtyard was being sucked into it and assembling. Pieces fusing, fitting perfectly, building outward from the ball as the center, into a giant, 80 feet tall. 2 heads, each with a bullhorn on its forehead, 20 feet long, 6 blood-red eyes on its face, a gaping maw on its chin, no ears. The other head is a snake's, coiled around the first, flicking a thin tongue, with 2 pitch-black eyes like holes. 4 arms, snake scales for skin. And 2 legs, completely disproportionate, like some kind of bird. Long, slender claws, 3 fingers each, like they could crush an elephant. And it happened too fast to interrupt. He didn't kill an army. He harvested the parts, and it built itself. This, his expression changed drastically. This thing seems really powerful. Half-step foundation establishment. It definitely has half-step foundation establishment. Even stronger? Very strong?
I've only met chi refining creatures so far, and honestly, their strength seems rather lacking. As for foundation establishment, I've never seen it. I have no concept of it. Nonsense! At foundation establishment, the physical body undergoes its first sublimation. It begins to transcend the mortal frame. And half-step has already touched the threshold? The spiritual power inside starts a quantitative change, transforming into true essence. Its power multiplies several times. And here's the part that hurts. Old Yun has cultivated for decades and cannot take that step. He's still struggling in chi refining. Especially now, this is the Dharma ending age. Spiritual power is declining. The environment gets harder every year. 50 years of a man's life, and the thing in the courtyard did it by eating garbage for 9 minutes. Roar, and it stretched out a hand, and a fireball formed in a blink and went at the hall. This is no ordinary walking corpse. He never expected it could use spells. I'll deal with it. You find the way out. Out of the hall, holding nothing back, blood chi erupting, leapt. That fireball was over 10 meters across. The heat hit me before it did. Lucky the blood. Chi formed a shield. Otherwise, even unhurt, I'd have been in a very bad situation. I'll beat you to a pulp. A simple, unadorned punch, straight into the fireball, like flying into a fire. Boom. And the fireball came apart, because ultimately, my power was superior. A boy punched a 10-meter fireball to death. No technique. He specifies that. Single, unadorned. Smack. And the giant put both hands together and swatted him, like a fly. An energy wave went out through the air. Old Yun was startled. He could already foresee the outcome. Smashed into mincemeat, without a doubt. He felt that impact. Even using every defensive technique he knows, he couldn't have withstood it. If no blood seeps between the fingers, he's died a quick death. And then he noticed something wrong. The clasped hands were swelling, like something was about to burst. And even from that distance, red light was coming out between the palms. Blood chi so thick it was almost liquid, with a wisp of flame inside it. Roll! A deep, resounding sound through heaven and earth. Bang! And the giant's palms exploded in midair, and a blood-red figure started to fall. Chen Wei, completely unharmed. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering. Landed, attacked again, straight at its lower body. And this time he threw it with his right foot. He discovered while farming lanterns that the move isn't just a punch. You can do it with the feet, with even greater destructive power. That's what those nights in the graveyard actually were, not just food, a laboratory. And the giant reacted fast, a claw wrapped in dense death chi, lunging. Boom! And I staggered back 10 steps, blood at the corner of my mouth. And it hopped back several dozen steps, on one foot, each step digging a deep crater, because the foot that met me, and the whole leg, was gone. I never expected an all-out attack wouldn't destroy it, just ruin a leg. And I took a minor injury. Pfft, and the leg grew back, and then it spat. Holy crap, he's cheating! Dodged the unidentified liquid, large crater where it landed, white smoke pouring out. Highly corrosive. Try this trick I invented. Stomped, cracks everywhere. Go! Special move, floor lift. Puss sandals into the gap, lifted with everything, and tore a stone slab dozens of feet long out of the ground, and threw it. Special move, floor lift. He has force-shattering, a technique from a 10,000-year-old lost art. And floor lift, which is picking up the floor. And he named it with the same energy. The giant stayed calm, swung its 4 arms twice, and shattered the slab. And my next move was already coming. But neither of us noticed. The Buddha statue in the center of the main hall had poked its head out, the one with no visible face. It's watching. And I picked up a fallen stone pillar, over 10,000 kilograms, and the blood chi came out of me and wrapped it. From a distance, it looks exactly like a burning stick, bright red. Take this! Step back, lean back, blood chi surging, and threw myself at it. 1 day left. Ask me again what a waiter throws at a demigod. Like an arrow off a bow, swift as the wind,
The launch left 2 deep pits under his feet. The stone floor cracked inch by inch, and he didn't stop. Bang! He burst forward, stepped on the flying pillar midair, and charged up again. He threw the pillar. Then he caught up to the pillar. Then he used the pillar as a floor. The giant shattered the slab in front of it and spotted the red light coming in fast, and it folded all 4 arms together into a meat shield, surface covered in scales and bony barbs. Boom! The pillar met the shield and started cracking little by little. The barbs broke, the scales tore off piece by piece, and the giant went back over 100 meters and did hold. But there was a large hole torn in the shield, and before it could react, I was already through the hole. 4 symbols, white tiger. Thunder roar. Sonic boom first, caught it off guard, both heads buzzing, momentarily stunned. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering 100 fists. Bang, 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 bang. Over 100 punches in quick succession, every one landing squarely. And its defense was decent, and it still couldn't take the combo. Hundreds of bloody holes instantly. No blood. A thick green liquid oozing out. Foul odor. The holes were teeming with maggots. Cool. Great. Love the texture work on this guy. And then it came back. The 6-eyed head opened its maw and spewed a cloud of green mist that spread out and swallowed the area. The snakehead, fangs out, tongue flicking, darted at me. And the limbs and arms were already back, reaching, and I dodged and wove around it and landed a few here and there, and I noticed the problem. It regenerates, even severed limbs. If I can't find a weakness and my blood chi runs out, I just wait to die. And the snakehead hit me while I was thinking about it. Poison arrow first, to block my escape route, then the tongue, covered in dense barbs. Cut! Large amount of blood chi into the right hand, a 3-foot red light, and a 10-hit combo into the forked tongue, broke off into more than a dozen pieces, and it didn't notice. Another plume of black smoke, several slashes, traded several punches, and in that moment, the snakehead lunged and swallowed me whole. 4 long tusks, they'd pierce an elephant instantly. And my frame is small, so I'd better be incredibly sturdy. And I grabbed both fangs and forced the mouth open. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar. Communicated with the tiger in my dantian. The tiger opened its eyes. Its phantom spread outward and enveloped me, and a sonic boom carrying lightning came out of it. Inside the mouth. The damage inside is far greater than anything you can do outside. And the snakehead exploded on the spot, and so did the whole long body, leaving one head on the giant. He got eaten and used the throat as an amplifier, and I was still standing on it, and suddenly a red light burst out with massive evil energy in it, and a faint soul fluctuation. Darted around, found the source fast. The chest, red light pouring out of the chest, and the snakehead already regenerating. And that's when it clicked. That plus the fleshy ball from before. The red ball is the core. As long as the ball doesn't die, the giant reincarnates forever. The giant noticed me noticing, tentacles everywhere on its body, limbs moving again, surging at me. Cut! Red light in both hands, slashed through the tentacles, severed the limbs and arms, then straight at the ball. Whirlwind slash. Furious attack, spun my whole body to stab it in the chest. Didn't hit. Because when I looked back, it was shrinking, down to the size of a grown man. Bang! And I landed, and looked at the thing very solemnly. Snakehead already back, and the aura coming off it was stronger than the giant form. The red mass exposed on its chest, but now protected by bones around it. Strong death chi still on the body. It didn't lose size. It concentrated. It raised an arm, pointed a finger. Green, evil energy shot out. Threw a punch, and my blood chi defense seemed to be breaking. Felt a chill. Retreated fast. Boom. Huge crater behind me. Dust and smoke everywhere. This thing is very strong, and I'm not confident I can kill it in a short time. Whoosh. It was gone from the spot. 4 symbols. White tiger. Void-shattering roundhouse kick. Sensed a sharp attack behind my head. Shifted blood energy into my right foot.
Whip kick backward. The two forces collided and separated instantly. Neither of us could do anything to the other. It took a dozen steps back. An arm grew out again. Have you found the way out?
This thing can't be dealt with quickly. Back to the hall entrance. Because here's the actual math. After a long fight, my blood chi is depleted by more than half. And if this drags, who knows if Tao sends in other evil spirits. And yes, I was very keen on the blue-white chi this thing would drop. Now was clearly not the best time. Even here, bleeding, half empty, fighting a half-step Foundation establishment abomination, part of him is looking at it as a loot table. We haven't found a way out anywhere. Only one of the paper cranes has come back. Maybe we should go check where it went. Sighing, holding his only crane. And then I put a hand on his shoulder. Old Tao, look over there. At the Buddha statue in the center of the hall. That's strange. I glanced at it just before you came, and the head still wasn't showing. How come it's like this now? 1 day left. Ask me again what the Buddha has been doing this whole time. He turned and looked at the head that had appeared and felt a chill run down his spine. Maybe that. And a cold wind swept through. Here's the head. Below the neck, gold. Above it, a material like withered wood, shriveled, black. And apart from the eyes, the facial features have lost their shape. And blood had already begun to flow from the eye sockets. And the corpse outside stopped at the doorway, and didn't come in, and didn't move. The abomination that shrugged off 100 punches is standing outside like a kid who was told to wait in the hall. That's the review. This can't be an illusion, right? Chucked at the Buddha, and the statue moved. Rose up and slapped at us in a blink. Clang! It's a dumb knocked away, and the palm kept coming. Helped the old man up, clenched my fist, blood chi gathering, punched it. Bang! A deep handprint left in the palm, and it withdrew fast. I went back 3 steps, and that slap was comparable to the corpse outside, which is a problem because the corpse outside is also still there. I feel like one more great body tempering and this wouldn't be so hard to handle. But a lot more blue-white chi is needed before the next one. He is in a haunted hall, sandwiched between 2 half-step monsters, bleeding, half-empty. And the thought in his head is, I'm under-leveled for this content. And then a crack appeared on the head, revealing 2 rows of sharp teeth. Laughing? And it rose into the air. Golden light appeared from nowhere above its head and lit the entire hall. And if it weren't for that eerie head, I'd have thought the Buddha had descended. Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. A sharp voice exploded in both our minds, and our consciousness began to waver, and I felt an urgent urge to give up everything and die. It's not attacking us, it's evangelizing, and the sermon has a kill option. Damn it! The tiger opened its eyes in my dantian again. 2 bolts of lightning exploded in there. Snapped back instantly, but the chanting still echoed. And then I looked at old Tao, and he'd started taking off his clothes. What the hell are you doing? Wake up! Swung 2 big fists at him. Didn't come to his senses, had already unbuckled his belt, preparing to take off his pants. 50 years of cultivation, 1 sermon, pants. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar. Gathered blood chi, suppressed the power. Sonic roar at the old man with a trace of arcs in it. Puff. The forced awakening plus the damage from my own attack made him cough blood, but his eyes got their shine back. Defend! Don't listen to that sound! He instantly understood what had just happened, took out several talismans, played them, surrounded us. This is a sound block effective, explained while putting his clothes back on. And that's when the double-headed walking corpse stepped into the hall. The golden light surged again, the mind-piercing chant intensified. And asses, put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. The array had been penetrated, the sound was back in our heads. And we braced, and the corpse walked past us. Tao immediately moved aside, straight at the Buddha. 2 meters apart, it stopped. The red mass on its chest began to throb, like a heart. Green, evil aura off its body, forming countless head-shaped spirits on its back, all roaring angrily at the statue. Dogs fighting? I was ready to move. I did not expect the two evil spirits to take a liking to each other. The yin qi in the hall reached a new level. We both felt the chill. Windows. He was about to break down. I don't think we can leave. Look. Dozens of monks were already standing at the entrance, completely withered, clothes tattered, wooden fish in their hands, and their mouths constantly moving, which is obviously what's been boosting the chant this whole time. Puff. Several more mouthfuls of blood. His condition is far from optimistic. I can resist it, but I find the chanting extremely annoying. Snort. And after slightly restoring my blood chi, red light in the hand, and I charged the monks. They were like puppets. They did not resist. And I was so pleased, swept them all away, and gained quite a few blue-white chi. One step closer to the next great body tempering. A choir of undead monks psychically ordering him to commit suicide. And his takeaway is that they came in a pack, and they don't fight back. That's not a boss. That's a farm. And the corpse immediately attacked the Buddha. Enraged, the statue conjured 3 heads and 6 arms, defending against the corpse while taking a moment to slap me with one palm. "Careful!" he cried out and retreated toward the exit. Didn't need the reminder, already felt it. "Good timing!" counterattacked, knocked the statue back with a single palm strike, then flashed in front of old Dao and smashed several tentacles with a punch. "One day left. Ask me again which of the two of them wins." "You step back first," and threw the old man out of the hall. And at that moment, a beam of golden evil energy and a beam of green evil energy hit me together. And I reached out and grabbed both of them and crushed them. Then flash, and I was in it. Thunderclap at the Buddha, then void shatter at the corpse. And the hall turned into weather. Various magical powers raging, 3 figures locked in it. Boom. After an unknown amount of time, the hall could no longer withstand the 3-way, and the overflowing shockwaves collapsed it. Nobody destroyed the building just gave up. Old Dao kept retreating, looking ahead with unease. I have 9 levels of chi refining. It is clearly not enough. Bang! A figure crashed down in front of him. Damn, this is tough. Climbed out of the pit, somewhat helpless, with a snake head in my left hand and a golden arm in my right. The arm is large. In my hands, it's like a toy. Here was the plan, by the way. Whether it's me or one of them, if one of the evil spirits dies, I complete the next great body tempering, and then eliminating the leftover one is a piece of cake. Let 2 gods fight and pick up whichever body falls first. Judging from the results, it was clearly not that easy. Let's retreat. Grabbed old Yoon, ran. And where we'd just been standing? A bullhorn charged in and the ground exploded into a deep crater. Then a huge golden foot stomped and the entire area sank several meters. And the 2 breaths clashed. And the 2 breaths clashed again, and from a distance it looked like a world-ending battle. 2 apex horrors tearing a temple apart over a grudge nobody explained, and the waiter is walking away with souvenirs. And then we went into the fog. The crane had told them, on the other side of this black fog is a cluster of buildings. The houses we saw when we first arrived, the ones the mist separated us from and that then disappeared without a trace. And here's what the fog is. The place of yin burial. A large-scale ghost wall formed over many years in a place rich in yin qi. And while you're inside, your location is constantly changing. It's not a fog, it's a shuffle. The paper crane gets eaten. Does that mean it can't get out? Crushed a strange, malevolent creature in my hand. Absorbed a wisp of blue-white chi. Along the way, I've also been collecting off old Yoon's kills. These things are mist ghosts, evil spirits born from the resentment of living beings that the place of yin burial absorbed. Not long after entering, they ambushed us, and in a moment of carelessness, the paper crane leading the way got damaged, and we lost the way. If we're lucky, we catch a charm ghost and we can leave. He doesn't have a better solution for the time being. There is another way, overwhelming strength. Destroy the place of yin burial outright and walk out. Clearly, we don't have that ability yet. And here's the charm ghost, a special type of mist ghost with extremely strong mental energy. Very small numbers. It can cause hallucinations without you realizing it and incite the resentment in your heart, making close friends and family turn on each other. It can summon other mist ghosts. It's proficient in stealth. It has top-notch escape skills. And its innate timidity and caution make it generally difficult to catch. And most importantly, it can find the way out. So the exit is a paranoid coward with anxiety, invisibility, and the ability to make you strangle your friend. And they need it alive. Inception several more waves of ambushes. Charm Ghost nowhere. I don't know how much time has passed, and then one flashed past, leaving only a chilling laugh. Judging by the tone, a little boy's voice. And old Dao saw its appearance clearly. It was a charm ghost. And it hasn't shown its face since. Dozens more waves, both of us exhausted. He's got a stack of talismans in his left hand, a spirit sword in his right, and several talismans orbiting him as protection. Give me a few too. Talisman.
Protect me! Looking at him fully armed and unable to help commenting.
Do you need it?
Didn't turn around.
Of course. I'm so young. I haven't even gotten married yet. I don't want to die young. Quick, give me 2 talismans to play with. The kind that are lethal when thrown. Patted him on the shoulder. For you. He looked down, took out a few talismans, then turned around and looked up. Holy crap. Prodigy. Die. And we both saw each other's faces, and attacked at the same time. Right hand out, grabbed at his neck. He casually unleashed a talisman. The spirit sword stabbed out without hesitation. What are you? Blood Chi erupted, resisted the talisman. Left hand grabbed the sword. Right hand broke through the defense and took him by the throat. Looked at the decaying face, chuckled softly. I still want to ask you the same thing. And he was looking at my faceless expression. And dozens more talismans rose behind him and shot at me. And as soon as I squeezed, he turned into a paper figure.
A dozen talismans around me formed a formation and locked my movement.
Go to hell! Wielding a thunder talisman, coming at me. Good timing. Blood energy up. Broke the restraint. Punched the Zhuanlei talisman. Bang. And we both went flying backward, and lay there, motionless. 2 men who fought a Buddha and a corpse god to a draw, knocked out cold by a rumor. After the time it takes an incense stick to burn, a wraith emerged from the depths of the black mist. A single eye taking up 2/3 of its head. Sparse hair, no legs, round body, 2 arms. Wandered around a while, then sent a few other mist ghosts over to look. Confirmed several times there was no danger. And then it chose to approach old Dao. 1 day left. Ask me again which of the 2 bodies on the ground was pretending. It had witnessed all the previous battles, and compared to those, it judged Chen Wei to be the greater danger. So it picked the old man. And just as it lowered its head to absorb his essence, light burst from all around and enveloped everything. And old Yun played a talisman and fired it at the charm ghost. It reacted extremely quickly, dodged in an instant. So this is a charm ghost. Got up off the ground, too. Looked at the wraith floating there. The old man had spotted it, sent me a telepathic message, and asked me to help put on a show. 2 guys who fight demigods, beating the ghost at its own genre. Realized it was trapped, panicked, and a piercing scream came out. Quick, grab it! It's calling the other mist ghosts! His expression changed. The light screen started shrinking. Individually, they're not strong, but the sheer numbers make them troublesome. The cries grew more mournful and piercing, and the yin qi from all around began to gather. Successor's the charm ghost. I'll handle outside. Stepped out of the curtain. Waited. Cuckoo! More and more strange cries. Countless mist ghosts of every shape and size, all in spirit form, fangs and claws out, surging toward this place, as far as the eye can see. Old Dao, hurry up! There's a lot of this stuff. And after the earlier recovery, I'm back to full. A boy with his shirt half shredded is standing in front of a horizon-wide tide of ghosts, and going, there's a lot of this stuff, in the tone of a man who just found the buffet. 4 symbols. White tiger. Thunder roar. Blood energy erupted. Full power. A deafening tiger roar swept outward. Every mist ghost along the way exploded. strands of blue and white light flowing into me, and the thick fog around us thinned considerably. Symbols: white tiger, void shattering. All blood and chi into the right fist, blasted the ground, deep crater. Shockwave out. Another large wave of blue-white chi harvested. Behind me, the light screen vanished. Old Dao had the charm ghost. He looked at the mist ghost blotting out the sky, and his mouth twitched. Several more booms, several more waves of gains. And the next great body tempering is getting closer and closer. Hurry! If we delay, those big guys are going to come out. Took out another spirit sword, reinforced with talismans, controlled the charm ghost, chose a direction, charged. Repelled the ghost behind me, large amount of blue-white chi again, rushed after him, slaughtered a large number along the way, and we were about to escape the place of yin burial. And a huge figure appeared in front of us, thick hands reaching out, grabbing large numbers of mist ghosts and throwing them into its mouth. And behind us, a large creature had already arrived. Pincer. We ran through the ghost army so fast we ran straight into what eats the ghost army. Both of them are mist ghosts, already materialized into physical form. Front one is a tree spirit. Barely acceptable facial features, 2 arms that look human, 4 short legs that look like suction cups. Currently capturing other mist ghosts from every direction and throwing them into its mouth. Back one is just a head. Long black hair, 3 mouths, 2 of them on the face, also devouring everything around it. They stopped 100 meters out. Let's each take one. My eyes were sparkling. Because these are all experience. The double-headed walking corpse and the evil Buddha were very powerful. Old Dao was no match. But things are different now. By appearance and aura alone, these 2 are slightly weaker than the Bone Witch Maiden from the outside world. And he's fought that. I'll take the one at the back. He judged the head mist ghost a bit weaker. Threw out dozens of talismans, spirit sword in hand, stuck 2 talismans on his legs, and instantly appeared in front of it. Order! The surrounding talismans detonated instantly. Dozens of large fireballs fell, flames soaring into the sky. Nearby mist ghosts incinerated instantly. Gah! A scream. Yin Qi rolled over. The fire got overturned and spread outward. And I received a large number of blue-white chi again. He's not helping the old man. He's standing behind him with a bucket. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, asterisk. Several whooshes from all around shooting at me. Dodged 2, then reached forward with both hands and caught the thin branches the tree demon sent. And pulled. Its massive body got dragged straight at me. Surprised by my strength, but its reaction was extremely fast. Mid-air, its 4 short legs instantly lengthened, broke straight through the ground, and took root. And once it stopped, its cherry-like mouth had become a gaping maw. And a green magic ball was condensing in it, spiraling out of shape. 7 or 8 jong across when it burst out. The mist ghosts around had already started retreating. The orb swept through and melted the ones that couldn't retreat in time, and they became nourishment and strengthened it further. By the time it reached me, another 3 jong wider, extremely powerful. By my estimate, already at the level of a double-headed walking corpse's full-force attack. It eats its own crowd to make the bullet bigger on the way over. Yin Qi churning into a riot. Large amount of blood chi into the right arm, the whole arm glowing rich red. Boom! A punch into the orb. The 2 collided. Green light enveloped the entire world. Old Yun traded a blow with the head mist ghost and looked over here. And when the green light faded, I was still standing there. Apart from my shirt being ruined, not a single scratch. That's perverted! Breathed the sigh of relief, charged the head again. And I stood there looking at my own body, thinking. 1 day left. Ask me again what he realized while looking at his own arm. Here's the discovery. A tempered body gets more solid from repeated battle. Against the double-headed walking corpse and the evil Buddha, with every fight, every hit, my defense was gradually getting stronger. And just now, another powerful impact, unharmed, and the defense enhanced further. Getting hit is training. Getting hit by an apocalypse is good training. Let's resolve this as soon as possible.
vanished, reappeared standing on top of the tree demon. 4 symbols: white tiger, void shattering tomahawk. Thick blood chi off my feet, slashed straight down. It sensed the danger and sprouted dense branches all over itself, converging upward into a disc above its head. And countless mist ghost heads appeared on the disc and charged me. Every head it had eaten. A flash of red in the sky. Every head evaporated by the blood chi, and the disc and the tree demon split in 2. The 2 halves extended tentacles, trying to glue back together. And they couldn't, because the cut surface still had my blood chi in it. It wouldn't stick at all, and it was constantly wearing the body down. Agonizing screams. And it got ruthless. 2 thin branches extended and carried away the essence. The affected area removed entirely. It cut off its own wound to escape my leftovers, and the 2 halves merged back. Sizzle bared its teeth at me, spat 2 mouthfuls of unidentified green liquid, and turned and ran. 2 large corroded pits where I'd been standing. Blood chi erupted, caught it instantly. Crimson light in both hands, hundreds of slashes in a blink. Dismembered, fell to the ground. The fragments wriggled, still wanting to fuse again, and I pinned them down with blood chi. Not long after, completely obliterated, no trace. A wisp of blue-white chi absorbed. The thing that eats an ecosystem tried to run away. From the waiter, closer to the next great body tempering. Meanwhile, the old man was in trouble. The head mist ghost has many methods. Long hair, tongue, poison mist, sound waves. If it weren't for his extensive experience and the abundance of talismans, he'd have been taken down long ago. But after a long battle, he gradually fell behind. All methods at once, sonic suppression first, then the hair to surround him, then the tongue. Limbs entangled in long hair, unable to move, a long tongue strangling his neck, one tongue plunging at his head, one tongue piercing at his heart. Life in danger. Bang. And just as he was in despair, he watched the head in front of him get smashed to pieces. "Old Dao, you need to cultivate more." Matt smiling at him. "Careful." He was about to exclaim in amazement when he saw a huge spear behind me, coming at lightning speed. The head mist ghost, using its wraith as a core, had manipulated its own hair and condensed it into something incredibly sharp. Old Dao believed I couldn't withstand it. And I shifted slightly and caught it with my right hand. Blood chi surged into the spear with a faint arc of electricity. "Ah!" A roar, and the spear turned back into a stray strand of long hair. Another wisp of blue-white chi. Looked around, unleashed a sonic attack, reaped another wave. And then thick blood chi erupted out of me and blew Old Dao several hundred meters back. The 9th great body tempering had arrived. He leveled up in the middle of a war zone, and the level up hit harder than the war zone. Sat cross-legged where I stood, blood, flesh, and bone enveloped by an inexplicable power, like a million needles picking out the impurities. The pain penetrated to the marrow, but the effect was extremely obvious. Black smoke visibly coming off the whole body. A layer of black and gray residual impurities slowly seeping out through the skin, with traces of blood mixed in. Only a small portion of my attention could go outside. Most of it went to resisting the torment, and the group of mist ghosts was gradually surrounding us. He saw my condition, took a few medicinal pills to replenish his depleted spiritual power, and set up several layers of defensive talisman arrays. Then began clearing the ghosts surging in from all sides. Apart from the 2 big ones already dealt with, there's nothing left out there that can actually fight. He could handle it with ease, but his physical strength gradually declined. And I received a large amount of blue-white chi again, which accelerated the process. What normally takes half an hour finished in less than a quarter. The old man is out there dying so the kid can level, and the kid's XP bar is filling from the old man's kills. He's being power leveled by a 50-year-old Taoist who thinks he's protecting a child. "You utterly wicked heavenly venerable!" Clothes already tattered, repelled one more wave, retreated. Thanks for your hard work. You recover, I'll take care of the mist ghosts. Patted him on the shoulder, stepped forward. 9th great body tempering, complete. Blood chi even more concentrated than before, erupting, and 2 punches turned a large number of them into ashes. This is actually a great place to grind. Several violent tremors, then silence. Not long after, I came back. The yin chi had dropped several levels. Only a few scattered mist ghosts left, scattering in every direction. It's estimated it'll take at least 10 years for them to recover to their former numbers. He'd recovered half his spiritual power and came over. 10 years of an ecosystem, erased by a boy killing time while his body finished cooking. Controlled the charm ghost again, learned the path out. Finally out! Looked at the houses ahead, then turned back at the place of yin burial behind me. And then I looked at the houses again, because the residential area ahead is also quite remarkable. At least the yin chi is comparable to the place of yin burial we just left. 1 day left. Ask me again who lives in the good neighborhood. Clearly not a pleasant place. And as we approached the houses, we were shocked. There were gray-black flames all over the ground. And before you even get close, you feel a burning sensation in your soul. What is it? The example that was in his eyes. Shock, longing, fear. If I'm not mistaken, this is the legendary divine fire, the netherworld ghost fire. Still couldn't quite believe it. How could a legendary divine fire appear in a place like this? Is it very impressive? I know nothing about it, but the name alone tells me it's pretty awesome. Nonsense! Netherworld ghost fire, a divine fire that has existed since the beginning of the world, unique to the netherworld hell, with a particularly great effect on the soul. He's only heard of it in records, and if the outside world found out this place has such a divine fire, things would turn upside down. Shaolin City would definitely be lost. Do you know how to collect it? Eager to try, because who wouldn't want a divine object? He has a spirit. It depends on opportunity. It cannot be forced. He was afraid I'd rush in recklessly, so he said it fast. Damn, so it all comes down to looks. Shook my head, sighed. Interest instantly plummeted. A fire that predates the world, and he treats it like a girl at a bar who might not be into him. Nobody can say for sure. I wonder if this is origin fire. And then he found his own sentence somewhat laughable. How could origin fire appear in such a small place? Oregon fire? Heard a keyword. Divine fire divides into origin fire and split fire. Origin is the core, the true form, the most fundamental existence. As long as origin exists, the divine fire continues to exist. Split fire is one wisp separated off from it. Only origin deserves the title of divine fire. Split fire counts as a strange fire, already a very powerful flame, carrying a trace of the original's power. With bonuses to cultivation, combat, alchemy, artifact refining, endless uses. And split fire is controlled by origin fire, recallable at any time. I'd bet this is the split fire of the netherworld ghost fire. Learned a bit more about strange and wonderful things today. So the divine fire has a landlord, and it can be repossessed. And here's my actual situation. This place might be somewhere to escape Shopkeeper Chen's schemes, but there's no food and no water. We can survive a few days, and if we stay longer, I might genuinely starve to death here, which would be very undignified. After all those battles, I used a lot of blood chi and couldn't replenish it in time. I've lost a lot of weight. I did take one of old Dao's medicinal pills. It was poison to me. Because, per him, the world today rejects martial artists. The Taoist pills, the spiritual plants, all of it is poison to a martial arts practitioner. One diet, one body, and the entire world has removed the healing item from his inventory, specifically. And there's the other thing. I have a premonition that a great terror will befall me during the next great body tempering. It feels like I'm being watched by some celestial being, and he moves right past it. Stopped my wild thoughts, wisp of blood chi for defense. And sure enough, the burning in my soul stopped. To reduce consumption, had old Dao set up a defensive talisman circle around us to hold off the soul burn? Chose a direction, entered the housing area. And the place was unusually quiet. Apart from our footsteps, no other sound.
and every house is engulfed in ghost fire, and every house is intact. No burning, no damage, not even the sound of burning. Deep within the land, a vast aura, even with the array up, looking that direction stings the soul. Something powerful is occupying this place, and I figure that's the only place the way out is going to be. A few steps in, glanced around casually.
Little surprised, pulled old Dao to a window. What did you find? Looked around, couldn't see anything special. Doesn't this look like a martial arts manual? Pointing at several sheets of paper pasted over the window. Wind-cated wind god leg. Oh, it really is a cultivation technique. Or more precisely, a martial skill. Immortals have spells. Martial artists have martial skills. Nodded. A legendary leg technique, being used as a curtain. Is anything that shows up in the ghost realm real? Went inside, asked the question that concerned me most. And while we were discussing it, the flames outside flickered a few times, like they were brewing something. The ghost realm here is a manifestation of the corresponding area of the Yang world, like a mirror. So what you see now also existed out there, in the past. So the martial skills pasted on the doors and windows are real, just incomplete, and somewhat useless. Search the other rooms. You might find something. Searched thoroughly, no martial skills. Left. Came back to the first house. And then he told me what this place was. That's quite possible. This ruin used to be called Leun Ward. More than 10 years ago, before the fire, there was a group of tomb raiders. They found some large ancient tomb, I don't know where. In the end, only one of them got out, with a luminous pearl. He was lucky enough to escape, and he was also cursed. He went insane every day. He died not long after. And before the 7th day after his death had passed, the body suddenly disappeared. One night, gone. The family reported it. The authorities helped search. They searched all of Shaolin City and found nothing, like it had evaporated. Later, nothing happened, and the matter was dropped. And then nothing happened is doing a spectacular amount of work in that sentence. Now, this man had a son, addicted to gambling, heavily in debt, chased by creditors, and in the end he had no choice but to hand over the luminous pearl to pay it off. What he didn't know was that it wasn't a pearl at all. It was a spatial magic treasure. And among the debt collectors was a cultivator. His realm wasn't high, but he spotted what it was, and he took it and left. And maybe it was the age. The treasure's spiritual essence was about to dissipate entirely. He infused a tiny bit of spiritual power into it, and it exploded on the spot, and everything inside scattered out. The sky was ablaze. It drew in ordinary people and cultivators. The ground was littered with spirit stones, magic treasures, medicinal pills, and a vast collection of books. Most of the stones and treasures and pills had lost their essence, a pile of useless junk. Only a very few still worked. And the books, apart from a limited number of immortal cultivation techniques, most of the rest were martial arts. And at the time, the cultivators were all too busy fighting over the useful items and the immortal techniques. So the martial arts manuals got ignored, scattered on the ground, looted by whoever lived nearby. And afterward, they were used as firewood, to patch windows, to prop up table legs. A tomb full of lost arts detonated over a residential block, and the neighbors used the legendary techniques to fix the drafts. Oh, by the way, it seems the manager of your teahouse got a magical cultivation technique back then. And the abbot of Manhwa Temple seems to have received a guiding light. In short, a lot of other people benefited too. One day left. Ask me again where Shopkeeper Chen actually got his book. Afterwards, the creditors all cried, and the debt collector got beaten to a pulp on the spot. So some of those martial arts books might still be preserved here. And that's when I asked the question, are martial arts manuals really that worthless? Of course they're worthless. Is it possible that even ancient ones are worthless? My expression was rather unpleasant. Chen Wei is such a jerk. That's a terrible scam. Martial arts books, no matter what era they're from, are generally useless to ordinary people, so the price isn't even as high as the erotic ones. Bookstores let them gather dust. They usually just give them away as freebies. What he said makes perfect sense, and my question seems a bit naive.
Isn't this something literally everyone in the world knows? And it's not my fault. In my original world, books that became antiques would fetch double. I believed it would work the same here. So, once I get out, and if I get the chance, I am absolutely giving that guy a thrashing. He is in a burning ghost dimension with 2 apex demons behind him and starvation ahead. And the grudge he's actively nursing is the bookstore markup. And here's the thing he doesn't know yet. Shopkeeper Chen got his book out of that same explosion, a freebie off the ground, and it turned him into a thing that eats employees. The cluster isn't very large, roughly a few dozen houses. Searched room by room, found nothing, though you constantly see incomplete martial arts manuals in the windows. Soon only 2 large compounds remained. I'd already given up hope. The end of the cluster, and in front of it, a barren mountain. You can only see it when you get close. Not high, a few hundred meters. Hazy top, shrouded in thick fog that obscures it and makes it appear and disappear. And we're at the foot of it. Since the pressure I felt earlier comes from that mountain, old Yun added several more layers of defense to barely withstand the soul burn. What bad luck. Threw the books in my hand on the ground, somewhat speechless. It's a book about bedroom arts. In this courtyard, the window paper wasn't martial arts. It was a more upscale type, clearly not an ordinary household. No martial arts in the rooms, only miscellaneous stuff, 4 books and 5 classics territory. I remember now. The owner here was a school teacher who returned home in glory. What a coincidence. More than 10 years ago, a hanged ghost showed up in his house, and I'm the one who got rid of it. Back then, I scouted the whole compound, and I accidentally found a secret room under the bedroom. Maybe we'll find something there. He'd felt the place was familiar when he walked in, and after thinking a while, he recalled it. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go! This old man has personally exorcised half of this neighborhood. He's not a guide. He's a returning customer. Came to a house, fully furnished, neatly arranged. He went to the bedside and pushed a round ball on the lower right. Snap. An entrance opened in the floor, with sloping stone steps leading down. I went first. He followed. Not large, a few meters across. Inside, gold and silver jewelry, antique calligraphy, and paintings. Searched a long time. Nothing. Huh? He opened an exquisite box, several books inside. And you couldn't see the contents. Even the words on the cover were blurry. What's going on? Having open every one and find them completely blank. There's only one explanation. The contents of this box are too advanced. The ghost realm can only reflect their shape. Is an underground chamber. It probably still exists out in the Yang world. We can come find it when we get out. Immediately lost interest. The mirror can't render them. They're above the resolution of the afterlife. And his reaction is, cool, I'll grab it later. Nothing else. Move to the last compound. This place is a school. So you know about this one too? I've exercised here before. A banana spirit. She'd seduce the students into filthy things and then suck out their essence. I, the old man, rid the people of that scourge. Not long after we entered, the ghost flames outside struggled a few more times. And if you looked closely, there was a blurry human face on every single flame. Looking at the many tables and chairs in the lobby, he was reminded of old memories and recognized the place immediately. And maybe it was luck, because after searching a long time, we both found a martial arts book. Mine was in the woodshed, mixed into a bamboo basket, clearly intended for starting a fire. It's called Greasing the Souls. That's how straightforward it is. Read the contents. The name is strange, but it is a martial skill, a movement technique. It primarily tests your control over blood qi. You condense blood qi into the body and use a special circulation method to make your movement fast as lightning. And one of them is a forbidden technique. Consume half your own blood to instantly escape over 100 miles. A book that was about to be firewood contains an emergency teleport. Cost? Half of you. And his was called Star-Absorbing Great Method. He found it in the outhouse. It's very flavorful. The previous book in the outhouse only had one page left. Lucky this one survived and wasn't ruined. You can use it. Shook his head as he said it. Ignored him. Checked everything. Nothing extra. Started reading. 2 of the great lost arts of this world. One was kindling. One was in the toilet. And that's not a joke the story is making. That's just where they were. And this one's also a martial skill. Cultivating it adds a suction to your blood chi, letting you absorb other people's blood chi for your own use. The move is called devouring heaven and earth. Drawback: the more you absorb, the more impure your own blood chi becomes, which risks chi deviation. And there's a powerful move in it, but it requires a strong physical body. Star Shift. It absorbs the enemy's attack and converts it into an origin chi bomb you can use. Can't be stored, on the spot only. And I thought about it. Star-absorbing great method is worth studying. As for absorbing the blood essence of others, forget it. Too evil. Drawbacks too severe. The boy who's been strip mining a ghost dimension for XP draws his line right there. Not at farming corpses, not at eating a graveyard's worth of lanterns, at taking it from people. And nobody was watching him make that call. Read it several times, memorized it. Because per old Tao, nothing here can be taken out. Memory only. Memorized the tips from greasing the souls, too. Started trying to cultivate it, wanting to see if I could grasp even a little. If I master it, I have more options against enemies, and my safety is better guaranteed. He didn't urge me, set up a defensive formation, went outside. After an unknown amount of time, my eyes opened, activated the technique, and teleported to a spot ahead using only a small amount of blood chi. Greasing the souls. Mastered. Bang. 1 day left. Ask me again what that noise was. That was old Tao, coming through the wall, along with a lot of the courtyard and most of the roof. Something terrible has happened! Crawled out of the rubble, not caring how he looked, shouting. And I didn't need the explanation. Whoosh, whoosh. Outside the door, countless gray-black flame spirit bodies beginning to take human form. By their aura, each about as strong as the wild boar demon I killed at the mass grave a couple days back. The ghost flames outside have all turned into evil spirits. Talisman in one hand, spirit sword in the other, ready. Seems this place is also owned by somebody. The fire wasn't decoration. It was the guard. Cruel, bloodthirsty expressions, strong hostility toward us both. They surrounded us and did not attack without authorization. But their eagerness was impossible to hide. And then they parted to both sides, and a tall flame spirit walked in from behind. Larger, darker, and its aura is stronger, already at the level of the head mist ghost and the tree demon back in the yin burial. One wave of its right hand, and everything surged in at once. Bang, and the roof came down. Exceptions: white symbols, white tiger, thunder roar. Blood chi erupted, powerful sonic boom. A vacuum zone formed with me at the center, enveloping old Tao. The falling roof got blown clean off. The ones that rushed in were destroyed instantly. The ones slightly behind got blown away. Large amount of blue-white chi absorbed. And look at me now. 9 great body temperings. Strength not comparable to before. Blood chi even more concentrated, with faint arcs of electricity and clusters of yang fire inside it. Like a humanoid behemoth. 2 weeks ago, this thing was carrying tea trays. Sizzle, sizzle, low rumbling sounds, and under the tall one's command, they charged again, fearless of death. Hold them a moment. I'm taking care of that annoying guy. Didn't wait for a reply. Activated greasing the souls, charged the camp. And every time my position changed, a large number of them died. Not a single one could withstand it. The technique he learned 9 minutes ago out of the firewood basket, already killing better than his fists. 4 symbols, white tiger, void shattering claw, already in front of the tall one, right hand into a claw, grabbed, heat wave raging. Before it could react, its head was blasted off. And the flame surged around it, and another head materialized, and its 2 arms turned into 2 sharp blades and came down at me. Replenished my defense, blood chi in both hands, grabbed, caught a blade barehanded, and the moment I gripped it, my soul vibrated, followed by an intense burning reaching all the way into the soul. Puff. My divine soul went into a daze, got blasted away, spat blood. Roll! A group of them surrounded me instantly, swept them away. Another wave of blue-white chi absorbed.
He's getting his soul cooked, and he's still collecting. Surged blood, dispelled the invading sensation, forcibly calmed my mind, frowned at the thing. Here's the problem. Its flames attack the soul. Presumably a characteristic inherited from the netherworld ghost fire itself. I hadn't thought of that. Fortunately, it isn't very strong. Otherwise, that attack leaves me dead or seriously injured. A closer look, the other flame spirit's fire also affects the soul. Weaker, defensible. And here's the rule nobody told him until it cost blood. Souls generally receive improvised enhancement as your realm goes up, and there are a very small number of beings whose soul strength far exceeds their actual ability. By my estimate, the tall one is slightly weaker overall, but its soul attack far exceeds its own strength. And my soul has been enhanced by body tempering, but the improvement is still limited. The weak wraiths I met before had weak soul attacks, so I never noticed. He built the greatest body in the province, and his soul is still a teahouse waiter's, and something finally noticed. Wiped the blood from my mouth, no more letting my guard down. Blood chi erupted, charged again. Thump. Another collision, and this time the blood chi completely neutralized it, held the flames off and kept them out of my layers. But the soul still had a slight burn, and the tall one was blasted apart again. And a figure rushed out of the shadows, and a massive amount of spiritual energy slammed me into the ground. Which bastard is that? You old sly devil. Stood up rather disheveled, cursing loudly, and the instant I got blasted, the tall one unleashed another burst of flame at me. Couldn't react. The moment I touched it, my mind reeled, spat several mouthfuls of blood. And here's what walked out. Tattered black clothes, but look closer and there are blue wavy patterns in them. Skin and bones wouldn't be an exaggeration. Exposed skin dark purple, abnormally dry, clearly wrinkled, and the meridians and bones under the skin are roughly visible. And it raised its head. Terrifying. Only half the face has skin, the other half is rotten, skull exposed. Eyes bloodshot and deep, devoid of any emotion. Demon Suppression Division. He'd arrived beside me and recognized the profession. Those blue wavy patterns on the black robe. That's a uniform. Same outfit as Gao Ming. The flame spirits surrounded the area and made no further moves. The tall one reformed completely. No sign of damage. Took the chance to calm my soul. Face pale, looking weak. Clearly a significant internal injury. Are you all right? He felt a little guilty. Because whether he gets out now depends entirely on me. You won't die. Looked at the situation, and slowly made a plan. 1 day left. Ask me again what a dead lawman is guarding down here. Who are you? The one who's going to take your lives. Clearly didn't want to elaborate. Sharp, disdainful sound. Fargo, you must be He Yan. His eyes darted. He'd thought of someone. Oh, somebody actually still remembers me. Looked at old Dao, surprised. He's the Foundation Establishment Officer they sent into the Ghost Realm from Shaolin City, a demon suppression guard. But how is that possible? He had the 8th level of Foundation Establishment. He's nowhere near the point of fasting. So many years have passed, and he's still alive. Solemn expression. Look at him. Is he even human? Not polite at all. And judging by the aura he has now, he's at most the 2nd level. Strange. Still confused. Your judgment is quite good, and even with only 2nd level, killing you two is more than enough. You're welcome to try. His aura is stronger than the double-headed walking corpse and the evil Buddha, and I don't feel much pressure now. I feel I can go toe-to-toe. He came in 6 levels stronger and rotted down to 2. And he's been down here so long, that's the version of himself he's proud of. I've been observing you for a long time, and if I'm not mistaken, you're learning martial arts. Let me guess again. Heaven has abandoned martial arts, and you can still master it. Without a doubt, you must possess some kind of special physique.
Only a special physique makes the impossible possible. You don't need to deny it. And wow, this is truly a stroke of luck, because I've just mastered a method for transferring a special physique. Once I defeat you, I become the world's first creator of immortal martial dual cultivation. And then who can stop me? Who dares stand in my way? I've stayed in this ghost realm for so many years, become neither human nor ghost. My realm has regressed, all of it for that damned netherworld ghost fire origin. I've failed repeatedly before, but now, once I have the martial arts, I can acquire it easily. Wah! He seems to have not seen a living person in many years, full of resentment, so now he's talking to himself and then laughing wildly. He's already regarded us as dead, extremely arrogant. Notice what he just said. The fire has an origin. It's here, and he's spent his whole rotting life failing to take it. You want to eat me too? I was surprised to hear origin fire, and then my expression went cold when I heard
his purpose. Is everyone in this world suffering from a serious illness? Why does every single one of them think about eating me? Wow, that's a good idea. Once I've taken your physique, I'll reluctantly roast and eat you two, so you don't turn into evil spirits like the walking corpse. This is how I repay you, a good deed. I'm giving you both a dignified death. What the hell is this dignity? That old bastard is shameless. His face twitched, burst into a tirade of curses. 3 separate parties in 5 days have now scheduled him as a meal, and this one thinks he's the polite one. The flame spirits attacked again on command. Stay back. Protect yourself, gave the order, stared at He Yan and the tall one. And here's why the old man has to live. He'd mentioned earlier he has a realm-breaking talisman, one that can temporarily break the ghost realm and put us back in the Yang world. But you need to find a weak point in the space to greatly increase the chance of success, so old Yun cannot afford to lose. Then be careful. A Foundation establishment cultivator's power has undergone a qualitative change. It's called true essence, not comparable to Qi refining spiritual power. And his physical body already counts as a semi-spiritual body, which makes it even more troublesome, he chimed in, because we both want out, and we both need the other one to survive it. Retreated, started resisting the surging flame spirits. And here's the thing about practical experience. It's very useful for improving your realm. And after this period of continuous battle, old Yun is almost breaking through to the halfway point of Foundation establishment. 50 years of nothing, and 2 days of hell. He was unusually energetic at that moment, sensed the change in him, felt much more at ease. Come on! Let me see what Foundation establishment can do. Rushed him, both fists. The tall flame spirit moved too, condensing 2 long, fiery hairs that shot at us. He Yan laughed loudly. A spirit sword appeared in his hand, higher quality than the ones old Yun mass produces. Ling Feng's sword technique, chasing the wind, twirled the sword, and a sword chi swift as lightning was in front of me in a blink. Macement technique, water control. Drops of water become soldiers. Left hand out at the tall one. A sword shadow condensed out of the water vapor and rushed out to collide with the flaming spear. Brink! Right hand into a claw. Crushed the sword chi that had swept across the field. Then kicked out and shattered the flaming spear too. Blood chi slash! Because since the 9th great body tempering, I can separate blood chi from my body. 2 beams of red light shot out. The tall one blasted apart again, but another beam of flame came. 4 symbols. White tiger, thunder roar. Neutralized it with a whistle. Ling Feng's sword technique, windfall. He responded with ease. 1 slash and an invisible defense formed and cleverly neutralized it. 4 symbols, white tiger, void-shattering great handprint. Agreasing the souls, instantly appeared above his head, slammed down a gigantic red hand. I'll deal with you first. Turned, rushed the tall one that had just reformed. Ripples appeared in my palm as I pressed down at the top of its head. Because in that short window before this, I secretly crammed the star-absorbing grate method, and barely got the basics down. Those spiral ripples are its suction, and all of it is built on blood chi. I'd already sensed the tall one is hard to kill, mainly because its rebirth is too strong. and I figured, since the method absorbs blood chi, maybe it works on spirits like this too. He read a book he found in a toilet, skimmed it, and is now field testing it on a demigod's head mid-fight as a hypothesis. The tall one had just taken shape when it felt the flames around it go unstable, like something was about to devour it. It looked for the source and found the unusual object in my hand. The ripples look ordinary, the suction is real. Even from a distance you could feel the oppression, like an abyss. It must not be touched. That was its first impression of me. Hide. It shrank into a ball instantly, condensing thousands of needles made of flame, which shot at me like torrential rain, densely packed, blotting out the sky. While retreating rapidly, my eyes narrowed, withdrew the suction. Because with that many nether flames, if I actually got caught in that, my soul comes out with holes in it. 1 day left. Ask me again who's actually hunting who down here. I'd planned a surprise attack. Clearly no longer an option. Ignored the retreating fireballs, blood chi erupted, and a blood-red protective aura formed around my body. Another thing the ninth tempering gave me. An upgraded version of the old red light, defense multiplied. And anything that does break through gets greatly suppressed and reduced, effectively a second layer. It consumes a lot. I generally don't use it. Couldn't care less right now. I could already sense the immense power in those flame needles. Fisheries, my body is very strong, but the enemy has fire that burns souls. Best to avoid contact. Ding, 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 ding. Relentless impact. A shockwave sweeping outward with every hit, which tells you how vicious the attack is. And the aura held. And then the needles did something else. They didn't disappear. They returned to their original form, turned back into flames, and formed a huge sea of fire outside my aura. And before long, the aura was unstable from the burn, could collapse at any moment. Holy crap. I underestimated the netherworld ghost fire. Even these scraps are connected to the divine fire. And the flame spirits I destroyed didn't disappear. They turned into clusters of gray-black flame and fell to the ground. And now, as if summoned, all the flame on the ground was rushing over and joining the sea. Everyone he killed is now fuel for the thing burning him. He's been feeding it all night. Grass. The fireball had reformed into the tall shape 100 meters out, and a thick spear, several dozen feet long, had already materialized in front of it. Went to leave, couldn't move. Looked around, surrounded by 9 wooden logs, carved with patterns, radiating golden light, connected to each other by magic, into a huge array. Wah! The little guy can't escape now! He'd already deflected my slap and was waiting for the opening. Spirit sword in a drawing stance, already gathering. You could feel the power of the move off him and the sheath. Good heavens. These 2 bastards have actually set aside their prejudices for the moment and made me the live target. 2 enemies who have fought each other for years. And the waiter is the thing that finally united them. And the aura is showing signs of collapse, and the moment it goes, that's their window, and they're both waiting for it. Young friend, he'd noticed and prepared to help. He's no match for those 2, but he can destroy 9 pieces of wood. A few steps in, and every flame spirit swarmed him at once, even more frenzied. And Huyan controlled several talismans to block him. Don't worry about me, those 2 aren't a threat. Told him to stay out of it. Protecting his own life is the priority. Ha ha ha, you really overestimate yourself. That spirit may be weaker, but it has many tricks. I've fought it for years and never beaten it, and now it's on my side. You're doomed. Guagua, just surrender. The moment your aura drops, your movement is locked by the formation. It only lasts a few breaths. It's enough to severely injure you. Giving the everything is the wisest decision available to you. Madness flashed in his eyes. Yeah? The moment I retracted the aura, I also unleashed a sonic boom and blew the surrounding ghost flames outward. And just as he said, the 9 pillars lit gold, and I froze in place. And the massive spear launched. Draw your sword and strike. He drew, and a massive sword chi, seemingly able to cleave heaven and earth, came down at me. And the spirit sword itself couldn't withstand it. It shattered instantly after the release. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder prison. The 3rd form,
something I've been visualizing whenever I had free time since entering the ghost realm. I'd visualized it out in the Yang world too, but I could only grasp the shape, never the method. And then the protective aura inspired me, and I suddenly understood, and everything fell into place naturally. The crimson aura reappeared, but amid the lightning and thunder, a white tiger phantom was wandering through it. It enveloped the incoming spear and the sword chi. It couldn't fully suppress them, but it greatly slowed them and cut their power by 20 or 30%. And I could move again. They built the perfect trap, and the trap taught him the technique that broke it. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar, shield, whistled at the flaming spear. A vibrating blood shield formed and blocked it instantly. Star-absorbing great method, star shift. Right hand out, the spiral ripples back, grabbed at the sword chi. This surprised Huyan, because his attack is as powerful as a full-force strike from a 3rd-level Foundation Establishment cultivator. It could injure some 4th levels. And this kid is trying to catch a blade bare-handed? Isn't that just courting death? He could already picture me being split in 2. And old Yun felt a chill. My friend is being a bit too presumptuous. The spear was stuck against the shield. Temporary stalemate. And the sword chi arrived. Without hesitation, grabbed the slash with one hand. Truly a shocking scene. A flash of white, a powerful shockwave outward. Some flame spirits exploded on the spot and turned back into flame. Another huge wave of blue-white chi, straight into the account. A man is trying to kill him, and the man's failed attempt is also making him richer. There's all there is to it? As the light spread, and just as everyone expected me to be split in 2, laughter came out of the smoke. And there I was, holding the sword chi with one hand, with spiral ripples at the point of contact. And the sword chi was shrinking, its power rapidly declining. Not long after, gone. And I was holding a mana ball with traces of blood chi and electric arcs in it. That's Starshift. It absorbs and converts an attack into an origin chi bomb and retains 90% of the original power. There are limits. If the attack is too strong and exceeds what your body can take, you don't convert it. You just die. And here's why he dared. He Yan has degenerated to 2nd-level Foundation Establishment. His attacks are within my tolerance range. A conclusion reached after exchanging a few blows. And even if the estimate is off, at worst I'm slightly injured, nowhere near dead. He didn't gamble. He measured the man for 4 exchanges and then let him swing. You should try some too. Laughed, threw the origin chi bomb back at him. 1 day left. Ask me again how it feels to be hit by your own best move. He was still in shock, lost the initiative, couldn't dodge, had to eat it. 5 swords appeared in his hand, manipulated them into the air, formed an array, condensed a phantom sword, slashed down. Boom. Smoke and dust, magic surging, many flame spirits slaughtered again in the blast. And I absorbed a lot of blue-white chi again. Everything in this dimension is a vending machine, and everyone keeps hitting it for him. Greasing the souls, arrived behind the tall one. Star-absorbing great method. Star shift. Before it could react, right hand on its head. Powerful suction. Ah! A scream, unable to break free, instantly shrank. And then it played its card. A burst of black flame shot into the sky and engulfed me instantly, and every flame spirit around abandoned old Tao and threw itself fearlessly into the black flames. A huge sea of fire formed. Even from far away, you could see the black flames going straight up to the sky. 4 symbols: white tiger, thunder prison, protective aura. Didn't expect it to have a backup plan this big. Conjured the aura fast to isolate the flames. And I did not let go with my right hand. Gritted my teeth, determined to fight this to the death. The tall one shrank at a visible rate. And everything it absorbed, as long as it was mana, got transferred into the orb. And then something went wrong. I absorbed a trace of magic power in there, and it clashed with my martial arts. The blood and the chi crashing and surging inside my body. Fortunately, my defense is extremely strong and my resilience is high. Otherwise, I explode on the spot and turn into a pile of dust. And I remembered what the old man said. This world no longer allows martial arts to exist. So everything happening right now is probably the rule. Magic power and blood chi cannot coexist. Put the thought aside, expelled it fast. He can't be healed by their medicine. He can't hold their power. The world isn't just unhelpful to him, it's allergic. More and more spirits injecting from outside, the flames stronger and stronger, the burn reaching deeper into the soul. If I weren't continuously feeding it, Thunder Prison would have burned to ash long ago. In the end, my replenishment was barely outpacing the burn. Gritted my teeth, pushed the star-absorbing method to its limit, and finished absorbing the tall one just before the aura went. And all that was left in my palm was a tiny black flame. And the fire scattered in all directions, leaving open space. And out there, the old man finally did it. Half-step foundation establishment. The spirits were still rushing into the sea of fire and no longer cared about him, which gave him a chance to breathe. Excessive expenditure requires conditioning and recovery. A large portion of the houses had already collapsed. Stepped back, chose a place to sit, treated himself while watching the fire, and prayed nothing bad had happened to the kid, because otherwise he has no choice but to cooperate with He Yan, and he doesn't trust He Yan, and is still quite resistant to the idea. 50 years to break through, and the thing that finally did it was 2 days of being used as a shield by a teenager. He Yan withstood the hit, and his life force dropped significantly. He stared at old Yun a while, and ultimately decided not to move. Chose a spot, restored his origin chi, kept an eye on the fire. Inside the sea of fire, staring thoughtfully at the black flame in my palm. And it shot into my palm, and into my soul sea in a blink. Damn it! Cursed myself for being careless. Looked inward, consciousness into the soul sea. And in there, the black flame had become a spirit again. But it was unusually quiet. No destruction at all. Just looking around. It didn't attack. It moved in. Speak. What do you want? Young friend, I need your help. After a long silence, one thought transmitted. Is that you talking? Glanced around a few times, then finally looked at it. Nonsense. Is there a third party in here? Active? Yes. Is it difficult? It's not difficult. Refuse? If there's nothing else, could you please leave? Reluctantly gave it the order to go. Huh. No way. The voice again, this time a little cold. Nothing to discuss? You're the one who made it impossible to talk. You're really arrogant, and on my turf no less. Aren't you afraid of dying? Not going to be polite either. You bug! It turned into black flame, poised to unleash. All bark and no bite. You must have expended a lot of energy earlier. What, trying to establish yourself in here? You're forcing me to close the door and release the tiger. Summon the white tiger phantom out of my dantian. And before the black flames could cause much of a stir, the tiger swallowed them whole. A flash of lightning, and the tiger spat out a black flame. The consciousness inside had been destroyed. A wisp of blue-white chi flew out, and I absorbed it directly. The black flame still gives a faint soul burn. The tiger came back to my dantian. A being that predates the world walked into his head to negotiate, and there was a tiger in there. Consciousness withdrew. The flame subsided. The spirits returned to plain gray-black fire. Hand over that black flame. He'd stood back up and stopped about 100 meters out. Come and get it yourself, because there is no version of this where I hand it over. 1 day left. Ask me again what a split fire is worth to a man who spent his life failing to catch one. And here's why I'm keeping it. I don't know its specific purpose, but it's definitely closely related to the Netherworld ghost fire. And when I picked it up, I sensed a faint call coming from that mountain. And He Yan said origin out loud earlier, which opens up a lot of possibilities. If you won't listen to reason, you'll suffer the consequences. Eyes blazing with killing intent. Ling Feng sword technique, chasing the wind. Slashed more than a dozen times, sword chi swift as wind, fast as lightning, 100 meters in an instant. The space around it didn't even ripple, obviously fast. 4 symbols, white tiger, void-shattering fingers. Smiled slightly, stood still, raised my right hand, pinched thumb and forefinger, flicked forward a dozen times, also extremely fast. Bang, 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 over 10 bursts of chi spreading out, the air itself stirring. He answered a legendary sword art by flicking at it. Ling Feng sword technique, wind erosion. Another sword chi down, stronger, overwhelming force, creating a vacuum in its path. It has a powerful corrosive effect, corroding and dissipating everything near it. 4 symbols, white tiger, thunder roar shield. Bang! The two collided. An even larger wave swept out, a huge crater with me at the center. Old Dao retreated again and again, secretly alarmed. These two are too strong, at least beyond what my half-step can handle. Especially Chen Wei. It's hard to tell whether he's growing extremely fast or his strength is just unfathomable. He handles every enemy he meets. He gets stronger the stronger the opponent is. In short, it's really weird. The old man just described the actual mechanic out loud and filed it under weird. Defended, greasing the soles, vanished. Because I don't play defense. He frowned and then saw a blur and a foot came in and stomped toward his face. A blatant slap in the face, naked provocation. Court death! His remaining half-face twitched. He flung out 10 talismans. They emitted eerie green flames and spontaneously combusted in midair, and evil spirits emerged out of them, one after another. All shapes and sizes, water ghosts, hanged ghosts, headless ghosts, bodiless ghosts, powerful auras. Some at first-level Foundation establishment. All of them rushed me. He retreated over 100 meters and took 5 spirit swords out of his storage pouch. Go! Manipulated them into 5 different positions, just enough to enclose me. Then sank a formation plate into the ground and made a formation. Not afraid. Blood chi erupted. Physical body alone. Beat them one by one, 1 punch each. I got hit during this. None of it injured me. On the contrary, my body got more solid. Defense strengthened again. Before long, one left. This one is tall, body hard as iron, extremely strong defense, very strong attack. And I left it alive on purpose. Because I feel a small portion of my body's potential hasn't been unleashed and needs further development. And now that I'm feeling it, I don't want to miss the opportunity. And this thing is the best whetstone. As for He Yan's little tricks, I'd already noticed. Too late to stop him. So I simply stopped paying attention. When soldiers come, generals meet them. A Foundation establishment officer is building a 5-element murder array around him, and he's watching it go up and ignoring it because he's busy doing reps. Still not quite there. Half an hour later, I decided the spirit was no longer useful and punched it to pieces. Absorbed the last of the blue-white chi. Careful consideration. The next great body tempering is still a long way off. He used a Foundation establishment ghost as gym equipment for 30 minutes, and then threw it out, because it stopped challenging him. Charge! Formed the seal, and the 5 swords lit up intensely, gold, green, blue, red, and yellow. Black evil energy appeared inside the formation and got absorbed by the swords, and that energy was the residue of the ghosts I just killed. Transformed into nutrients, replenishing the formation, starting it up. My reps built his weapon. Trapped inside, can't get out for the moment. 5-element spirit extinguishing array, fire spirit. The fire element sword rose. A dense barrage of fiery arrows appeared and encircled me. Blood chi. Their force barely reaches half-step level, but there are tens of thousands of them, and I don't want to eat that with my body in case he has other tricks. A protective aura only 2 or 3 meters wide spread out. Ding 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 ding. Arrows falling continuously. Without constant support, the aura wouldn't have held. 4 symbols, white tiger. Thunder roar! A tiger roar, and the arrows that hadn't landed yet exploded in midair. And then a huge meteorite appeared in the sky, almost covering the entire formation. Flames raging endlessly on it. Even from a distance, you could feel the destructive power and the heat, like it was about to smash through and burn the entire ground. 5-element spirit extinguishing array, wood spirit. And just as I gathered blood chi to resist, many vines burst out of the ground and swarmed me, clearly meaning to bind me and lock my movement. Rock falls, vines hold you still. That's not 2 attacks, that's 1. Blood chi slash! Red light in the hands, cut the vines down before they touched me. As my strength has grown, the red light now reaches 10 inches long. But those vines regenerate extremely well and keep climbing one after another. 5-element spirit extinguishing array, earth spirit! The ground undulated. 2 enormous stone arms burst out and slammed down. Blood chi 100 slashes! Eyes narrowed, blood chi into the arms again. Red light solidified considerably, charged up, hundreds of slashes in an instant. The vines and both stone arms chopped to pieces. 5-element spirit extinguishing array, golden spirit! Countless enormous metal weapons burst out of the ground trembling and starting to deform. 1 day left. Ask me again how many elements are left. Greasing the soles, constantly, dodging the weapons coming up out of the ground. 1 wrong move and I'm ripped to pieces. Not good. Dodged a blade, tripped over a vine, fell forward. Boom! A tremendous sound. The whole ground shook. Inside the formation, the fire meteorite had already landed, and dozens of earth and stone arms slammed into the spot where I fell, and the barbed vines poked in after them. Dust everywhere, magic surging, flames into the sky. Huyan coughed several mouthfuls of black blood, clearly overexerted, feeling unwell. Running a formation that size consumes enormous mana. Back when his realm was intact, this was easy to control. Now, the only 4 spirits will barely activate. The water spirit won't come out at all, unless he shuts one of the others down. None wonder heaven cut off martial arts. It's too abnormal. He couldn't help marveling at the kid's strength. He's personally experienced the power of it now. But it's all mine now. If he steals the physique, he can achieve dual cultivation. Then he takes the netherworld ghostfire origin. And once he leaves this god-forsaken place, he will surely stand at the pinnacle of this world. 4 elements dropped on one kid's head, and the man's inner monologue is a business plan. 4 symbols: white tiger, thunder prison, protective aura. A steady sound from the other end, and a blood-red aura, hundreds of meters across, opened up, with a white tiger phantom running inside it, and arcs of lightning flashing, and I was standing in the middle of it, unharmed, looking down at him with disdain. As for the 4 spirit attacks, all neutralized, and the 5 spirit swords had lost their luster and broken in half. You, so shocked he couldn't speak, spat several more mouthfuls of black blood. Like that's all you've got. The blood energy receded, and so did I. Movement technique, already in front of him. A few bursts of red light, and he was in several pieces. Forbearance. If my realm hadn't dropped, if... His head rolled to the side, mumbled a few words, died with his eyes wide open. 50 years in hell, rotting himself down 6 levels chasing a fire he could never hold, and the last thing he ever says is if. You've got quite a few tricks. Picked up an inconspicuous piece of rotten wood from the side, squeezed, crushed it. Let me go. Holding a wraith begging for mercy, Hyun's remnant soul. I wonder what secret technique kept him from dying. And I no longer care. I don't let go of anyone who wants to kill me, and the ones who want to eat me deserve it even more. Blood chi into the remnant soul. He didn't even get a scream out before soul flying away and spirit scattering. And a rich blue-white chi went into me, much more concentrated than anything before it. Call. Exhaled, sat down on the ground. And here's the honest accounting. A foundation establishment cultivator is genuinely hard to kill. He burned too much on the formation. That's what let me kill him effortlessly. And if he hadn't fought to the death, if he'd wanted to run, it'd have been incredibly easy for him. I probably couldn't have kept him either. He was just too confident, and he underestimated me. That's the eulogy, not I was stronger. He didn't run. Are you all right, young friend? Just used up a lot. I'll be fine after a rest. Shook my head. That's good. That's good. A long sigh of relief.
By the way, was Heian considered a heretical cultivator before? Because that's what the blue-white chi comes from, and I need to know what counts. It seems you don't know much about the outside world yet. How so? Where in today's world is there any righteous path, evil path? Which cultivator isn't an egoist? If it weren't for the Great Sha Kingdom holding the lid down, the world would be far more chaotic than it is. The spiritual chi in the air gets scarcer every year. Only a few special places still have a tiny bit more. And without spiritual chi, cultivators naturally look for a replacement. And what's most abundant in the world today? Human beings, obviously. You haven't seen what it's like outside the Great Sha borders. It's truly a complicated situation. He looked up at the sky, eyes filled with sorrow. And there it is, the whole thing, in one sentence from a tired old man. Shopkeeper Chen isn't a monster. Zhou Hong isn't an aberration. The city lord collecting a little girl
in the south of the city isn't a scandal.
They're the weather. The magic ran out, so the world switched fuels, and the fuel is people. And that's the world that told him martial arts were dead, that made their medicine poison in his blood, that made their power incompatible with his body, that put him in a teahouse with a 5-day expiration date and a boss doing arithmetic about his liver. Fine. He read the manual out of a firewood basket. He read the other one out of a toilet. He got eaten by a snake and used its own throat as an amplifier. He got farmed by a graveyard and farmed it back. He walked into hell with a 50-year-old Taoist and came out the other side of it with a piece of the divine fire in his palm and a Foundation establishment officer's soul on his ledger. In 5 days. As a waiter. And there's a mountain up ahead with a fog on top, and something in it that's been calling to the flame in his hand since the moment he picked it up. And back in the Yang world, in a courtyard in Shaolin City, 5 men are still sitting around a table, and the table still has a date on it, and the date is tomorrow, and none of them have any idea that the thing they scheduled for dinner has spent the last 2 days eating an entire dimension. And Shopkeeper Chen is still polishing cups and waiting for his boy to come back to work. He will. Ask me again what happens when he walks through that door.